turn this one around. Maybe Pyosik just rolls heads every single time. We know that when he does that, he tends to go on a roll and then wins Worlds. So that could be a thing that could happen here today, or at least the beginning of it, heading towards first stand. But of course, that is a long way in the future. No one's heading to Brazil just yet, although I have a feeling Gen G might.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a high variance series, but I think game by game, it's going to be hard to scope out exactly how things develop.
Yep,
right
well,
now,
we can see how the draft develops because we're here right now.
Bard being banned, it's first pick for the DN Supers, so they get a little bit more space to be targeted. Taking away Andal's Bard, I think, is a great call. Yunara away from Jiwoo as well.
Very targeted bans here.
Yeah, and I think just not too surprising. I expect a Rumble ban to come through from DRX. Nothing too surprising in that regard. And then the question comes down to those mid laners, because especially if you're going Nico ban as well, which makes sense, right? Nico's been a great pick, but also Peter specifically has been phenomenal on it. Starts to make you wonder about mid laners. So do the DN Supers now look to ban one of those, potentially look to try and get one of them uncontested, try and get Rumble uncontested? What is the play here?
I think ban Orianna and then force a Rumble ban, because that's probably still going to be necessary, and then you get a Azir without having to worry about Orianna. Or you take away the Nocturne to make the Orianna less scary, because I think if you're having a look at these two mid laners, Closer clearly wants to play Azir, and Yukao clearly wants to play Orianna. That's how it feels in my mind. The problem is Jarvan is still there, so it could still be picked alongside a pretty decent ball carrier as far as the Orianna is concerned, and they didn't ban Rumble. So I guess that's going to be the first pick instead.
Yep, so I guess in this situation you have to take the Rumble and then you end up trading the mid laners. I think the Nocturne obviously means that DRX can't take Orianna Nocturne together, which is, you know, I feel like you have a lot more power to do that on the second pick side. And that combo is, I mean, DNS know how much that combo can threaten. They're a team who are very good at using it themselves. Also protects the Nocturne for Pyosik. It's been a pick that's pretty good for him, so saves it for later in the series.
Yeah, that's a good point. The Ambessa are going to be locked in here. I'd kind of like that to be a jungle pick. I actually quite like Rich on Ornn. I feel like he's done relatively well, and we've seen that, I mean, Ornn's picked up solo kills against Rumbles towards the top side of the map, and that was against Keen. So that might be an avenue of success instead. Wow, this is actually not what I was expecting out of DRX. Priority on the Azir instead of the Orianna. Especially when you can kind of public execution into the backline on the Ambessa and deliver a ball that way. Could be a kind of cool way to make things happen. But instead, the Pigeon going to be locked in, and that will allow the Pantheon to go to Pyosik. Oh my goodness, and then there's the Orianna as well. We've seen this exact lineup of picks. I think it was B&K that picked it into T1 and demolished with it.
Yeah, the Pantheon Orianna, it's not quite Nocturne Orianna, but it does a pretty good job of setting up the ball. You can dive in super aggressively, point-and-click CC, and then just the shockwave to follow. This is a really strong topside for the DN Supers, and now DRX will be going for that Ornn you talked about into the Rumble. So a matchup, obviously we have seen that solo kill that Shiwa managed to get, which was pretty crazy.
Yep.
Into Keen, of all things. But generally, you're just looking to scale up to that Kanik Rukin, then you can just survive the matchup, hit that late game scaling. Definitely feels like DRX are going to be on the back foot on the top side in terms of that early pressure, and looking just to try and survive a little bit until the later stages. And we do start seeing AD carries banned out with Kai'Sa and Lucian taken away immediately here.
I feel like Kai'Sa's kind of awkward in the DN Supers composition, but you can understand it. There is certainly a lot of dive. Pantheon Kai'Sa does work quite well together. And so getting rid of that one to not allow Dokdam to play it. What I want to see out of DRX is a lot of aggression in the bottom lane. I want to see early game power. I want to see lane dominance, because elsewhere we are scaling all over the place. And we saw it didn't work when I keep going back to the last series, but T1 tried an Azir on composition, and they just didn't get off the ground.
Yeah.
And it didn't quite work out. And this is, I think it might have been in a very similar situation. It might have even been that game where they played the Rumble Pantheon Orianna, and it just started to do things a little bit faster. As Poppy going to be taken away here, let's see what Gio is going to be locking in. I wouldn't mind something like a Kalista, you know? But there is still a lot on the table. Maybe it could be dangerous to run into it right now.
So risky, because if you go Kalista, they can just go Ashe Seraphine.
That's a good point.
And the thing is, if you go Ashe intending to go Ashe Seraphine, do they just go something maybe like a Blitzcrank? That's a huge threat in this situation. They're going to go Ezreal, go something safe. But obviously you can have that mid-game pressure. And it looks like, I think Jhin fits with the DN Super's composition.
I don't like
inspire a huge amount of joy, especially into an Ornn.
Yeah, I don't like it.
But this composition for the DN Supers, you are looking to sort of spike in the mid-game, and it'll definitely be able to follow up an ults there. As long as the Ornn doesn't hit like super late game, it's not going to be too much of a problem. And you have a lot of damage in the composition in general, so...
Yep. I think DRX knew that they wanted to pick the Ezreal. Now the Kai'Sa ban makes all that much more sense, as I think they were just aiming for that from the beginning, as Jhin Alistar. Not exactly a awe-inspiring bottom lane. And let's see what Andal wants to do. Could just be the Karma if he would like to. I'd prefer to see something else, and I think Nautilus is pretty free. Given the fact that there is an Alistar already there, I think that your lane prospects are still looking kind of okay up against the Jhin Alistar. And so he can go towards the champion that he's been really dominating on. And I really like to see it. Andal just hopping out on the best foot forward straight away.
Yeah, I think getting comfort for him in this situation. But I think, honestly, DN Super is having Rumble Pantheon such a strong top jungle, the Orianna as well, linking with that. And it feels like they just picked the Jhin Alistar just to kind of have, you know, the Alistar for the setup, the Jhin for the follow-up. Feels like they kind of got everything they wanted in this game one.
I would agree. And I think even if they picked, you know, Teemo Zilean in the bottom lane, it would have still been fine because that top side is just so incredibly powerful. I feel like, you know, Zilean's fine. I don't know why I use that as an example of a bad bottom lane, but stuff with Teemo is just generally not going to work out.
I think Teemo Zilean doesn't sound too convincing.
It doesn't sound too good. I just feel like...
You can speed him up and
yeah.
just blind people.
Yeah,
you know?
see?
He can run around
You'd really be able
mushroom.
to guarantee the blind. Is this Calyx? Here on the DRX side, I'm pretty sure. So I think we are there as well. As Bulldog, of course, formerly of the DN Supers, or I guess the DN Freaks back in his day. But obviously supporting them. So let's see who is going to be happy after this one, as a lot of scaling over on the side of DRX and the DN Supers with that awe-inspiring top side of the map. And then some pretty solid bottom lane as well. Let's get into it. Game number 1 of this lower bracket best of 5. All right, DN Supers fans, a little bit unsure as to the cadence of the call out, but hopefully they figure that one out as we get further on. DRX like a well-oiled machine. Let's see whether that is going to be represented on the Rift as well, because we know fan chants have a very, very high impact in the outcome of the game.
Yeah,
and that fan chant was a bit messy on the DNS side. That command attack, though, seemed fine. So maybe Closer not suffering from it just yet.
So, interestingly, both supports opting to go Aftershock. I think it completely makes sense on the Nautilus. He is quite squishy. Those extra resistances go a long way. But seeing on the Alistar as well, I feel like a pick that we've seen a lot more spellbook on.
Yeah.
But really valuing that extra tankiness, particularly in the early game, before you have that ult available. And Andal going the Ignite, so wanting that extra pressure in the 2v2.
Ooh, he didn't calibrate. Although they do have a ward there, so a little bit of a sidestep, I guess, playing a part. But you can see right now, a bit of biffo here towards the bottom side of the map. No one throwing out any tempo spells just yet. As heal into Ignite feels good for DRX. See whether they can play around it.
I think as well, with it being a Jhin into an Ezreal, with the lethal tempo Ezreal, you get it stacked up, you get your passive stacked up, you have so much sustained damage in comparison to a Jhin who is stuck on that reload.
Yeah. I do really feel like Jhin is reloading most of the time. I know he gets 4 bullets and then it's a reload, but it really feels like he's reloading between every bullet.
Time spent reloading is...
It's just significantly high, you know?
Yeah.
All right, Andal, he's looking for it. Gonna start this one up. Does have the Pulverize there from Peter, but hits the hook onto Docdom. Andal just, you know, trying to put some fear into his opposition. Not really finding too much more other than that. DRX with control of the wave for the moment, as the cannon is going to get pulled underneath this turret, and at least Docdom is going to be able to use that 4th shot in order to take that one down. Wasn't reloading that time.
Yeah, I think if you're using the Aftershock and the shield from the Nautilus well, you are able to go for those sort of aggressive trades, but, you know, into Alistar, he's just going to sustain up from the passive. He's not able to achieve too much. It is the first strike Rumble again, so just looking to farm up gold from the Ornn where possible.
Yep. Good old money printer rumble.
That's the plan.
Well, Pioshik moving over here. Andal is having a little bit of a look around as there is Willa in the vicinity. He wants to take this Rift Scuttler, but there's the flash headbutt pull from Peter looking for Willa as Deadly Flourish is going to follow up. Pioshik now turns on to Willa, who manages to get the dash to get away and then just does Ambessa things in order to be absolutely all right. Looks like Pioshik going to be able to grab the Scuttle Crab, and DRX did not lose first blood to a Scuttle fight.
Yeah, able to get away from that one, but it was a scary situation. And it's, again, dealing with the threat of the Pantheon in the early game, Peter with the initial setup, and also just the fact you have a Jhin. He's always going to be able to contribute to the fight first with that root.
Another hook in from Andal, feeling really good about that one. Peter taking a lot of damage. As Doctom also good accuracy on those Mystic shots from Gio.
Yeah, good trades, and also Peter burned his heal in that early skirmish, so...
And his flash.
Yeah, so down sums there, puts him in a really fragile position.
Ooh, managed to get the cannon there. I was a little bit worried.
If Andal connects, it could just be kill threat. If Gio lands all his skills, the potential is there. They have to play really on the defensive in this position. Should be a plate potentially in this situation too now. Maybe not in this wave.
Yeah, Mystic shots connecting, and another one there. Gio actually having a pretty good day here, as Doctom only a couple more, and then he could be in lethal range, like you were talking about, as Rich. Not going to quite get the knocker, but is going to be, I guess, all right for the moment. Has built a null magic mantle for himself, which is helping with these flame spitters, but Dudu having a very good time, and is actually ahead by an entire wave right now. There's a teleport back from Rich, but there's no cannon in this wave, so they actually miss a couple of melees as he turtle ports his way up there. And it's so interesting seeing Yukal on the Azir side of this matchup. I swear every single time there's the trade of Orianna Azir, he is on the Orianna. Andal thinking about going for something, but doesn't have his flash. Level 6 there for Yukal.
He seems to be doing pretty okay so far, though, so...
Yeah, sort of like it's all calm on Summoner's Rift for the moment. I'm expecting this game to turn silly at some point.
Yeah, waiting for it.
Now, it might happen right now as Pioshik dives in. Willer is in the vicinity, though. Only level 5, so doesn't have that public execution, as now Gio and Doctom are fighting for the moment. I imagine Gio does have a bit more consistent damage, though, as Peter just has to get out of there. Pioshik in a lot of trouble, but he's got the Aegis to mitigate that damage and will be able to escape. DRX do manage to win out and get a little bit of positional control around this river.
Yeah, a lot of cooldowns from DNS just dumped into the Nautilus, and it gave Willa so much free reign there in that fight. Ambessa able to get a lot of damage down in return, made things a little scary.
Yeah, Doctom and Peter now underneath this turret with a little bit of respite, but Gio going to go back home. See whether he can collect himself a Sheen or something like that on this particular back.
Level 6 going to come in soon for Pioshik here, so once that ult's available, you know, it's not just the fact that you have all that global pressure, you also get the free armor pen with it. He's going to be pretty scary to deal with.
Andal is now Willa's support.
Yeah.
Is what it looks like.
I mean, you have an Ezreal, why not?
Yep. Let's park him down there. Does have a wave to deal with now. Arcane shifted, I believe, to pick up one of the minions that was falling down, if judging by the minimap has anything to do with it. DNS moving up to about a 200 gold lead just based on how these lanes are doing, and I imagine that is almost all Dudu, who is, you know, doing the money printer thing, but is also ahead by about a wave. But Rich, obviously, is just happy wearing a cape and building stuff and all that sort of stuff here towards the top side.
He's getting pressured out a good amount, though, so... Grub's up in about a minute 15. Rich is pretty low on mana, getting chunked out, and he doesn't have TP. So unless he can find a reset, he's just not going to be of any real use if they try and set up for the Grubs. Might have to give that over if DNS opt to contest it.
Yep, Gio and Andal back to it here towards the bottom side as Andal has decided to join his other AD carry that isn't Ambessa. First rate going to be a Mountain. So that is not going to be the Soul. How are we feeling about the Chemtech scenario here? Orcs, do you think that you'll be able to pay enough attention to guarantee that we do not get a Chemtech Soul, or is it doomed?
I'll do my best.
All right. I'm going to try my very best to get us a Cloud Soul. That's what I'm going to do.
I'd like the Cloud.
I like zipping around the map.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot of Cloud Soul value, I guess. Like, there's not those champions that feel really good with it, like Nocturne and Sivir and things like that.
It's just like the flat movement speed. It's okay.
It does just feel good.
Yeah.
To walk faster.
I do think Obviously, Compier Mountain. I mean, Infernal Soul pretty big. Hextech's always crazy.
Yep.
Ocean, not the worst Ocean game. It's honestly not even the worst Chemtech angle for like the DRX comp with like Ambessa on.
It's a good point, actually. Maybe Chemtech would actually be the dream. Maybe we need to
let's not go that
for
far.
a Chemtech Drake.
Let's not go that far.
I'm almost ready to go that far. Maybe it's time for justice for Chemtech Soul.
No, I don't think so.
It's not. Okay.
No.
I always need to test just to make sure that we're not getting there. That's all right. Rich, pretty happy as he's made his way back up there. He is still 10 CS behind, but now it's 8. So he's moving up. And if this game continues on like this keel, DRX are extraordinarily happy. We have to, point out that DNS's comp doesn't scale badly or anything like that, but it's Ornazir and Ezreal. They're very happy to go later on into the game. There's tons of CC with this Nautilus as well. And so DNS, very happy that they can pick up this first dragon, because I think Drakes are going to be really important for this composition to keep themselves in control.
Yeah, so opting to go for the Drake instead of going for the grubs. I mean, Rich did get that recall off, so he was healthy anyway, but prioritizing that. And I think it feels bad to pick up a mountain and then see the Hextech after.
Yeah, true.
I think in terms of the souls you might be setting up for, it just doesn't feel too positive.
It means that Chemtech or Cloud are both available, though. So I'm very happy about that. We'll have to see exactly which one it's going to be.
Still a gamble.
I don't know why I'm so enthusiastic about the Chemtech angle. It's weird. Maybe I've been playing too much Zorn in TFT.
Yeah.
I've just got that sort of like Chemtech vibe. I don't know. Anyway, Rich versus Dudu is not exactly the lane that we really want to be watching for action's sake, but that really does tell you at what point in the game we're at. We're at the bro and brew side of things.
You at least get to see the first strike proc, and you get the nice little noise it makes when he gets the gold cash in. That's something at least.
Gio is just happily watching these minions go down. Is Peter taking a bit of damage? There's another hook. Very nice one. True Shot Barrage. A lot of value here as Peter may actually have to ult, and he does. But still in a little bit of trouble. Has to use the heal at the same time as Andal and Gio are doing a whole lot of work. But there's the curtain call. Gio tanks up one of them. Let's see whether they can get the sidestep off as he holds the last bullet and misses onto the Ezreal. So Dr. I'm not exactly finding a lot of joy, but he is looking very healthy. Just Peter a little worse for wear.
Yeah, and I think DRX feeling pretty good about that. Managing to get barrier and heal from the side of DNS.
Oh, that's a bit of a cheeky stop.
Pressure here. Also, that ward. Do you see that ward that's outside the brush, by the way?
Yeah. Little unfortunate. Not getting a lot of work done. It's a lazy ward, that one. Oh, dear.
Gio's going to clear it.
Skara would be so proud of that ward. He would be so
Okay, it's
proud.
gone. At least it's gone, okay? It never happened.
Yeah. It's just sitting in Gio's wallet now, and it's a little keepsake.
Yeah.
This silly little ward that did nothing. Oh, dear. Well, UCal, here just clearing waves in the mid lane. 3 minutes on any sort of neutral objective turning up, so there is no reason to fight right now. But we might just be setting up for a random Scuttle team fight. There's a hook connecting somehow. That was a weird angle. As Pyoshik dashing in, but Willer is on his way out there, so buffers it to avoid any sort of misposition. And DNS will back away, as do DRX. So things just completely even, and I'm just waiting for some stuff to happen. I think if like Double Dragon comes through for DNS, then maybe we could talk about them actually having a real advantage. But so far, nothing for either side has really put anyone in the lead, as now Peter might be out of position. Remember, does have his ultimate back off cooldown now. But there's an Emperor's Divide. They look for Pyoshik. It's kind of a miss situation there from Willer's ultimate, but it doesn't matter. That is going to be a trade as UCal goes down, but so does Pyoshik. Another anchor comes in, but it's great pulverize there from Peter as the Ornn has turned up, and Rich is going to throw a ram at the cow and then get himself out of there. Doesn't quite find it, but it's a good flash there from Peter. Now Dudu with a flamethrower and a dream is just going to take out the Ornn, and flash out there from Willer gets him over the wall. DNS find the team fight and walk away with a 700 gold lead.
I just love how you were setting up like there's no reason to fight right now. They don't need to fight.
Yeah.
Of course they would.
That was when they were gonna. I needed some action, and I knew that that was the only way to get it.
I want you to kind of look at what they use on the Pantheon, on Pyoshik. So there's Azir ult, there's Nautilus ult, there's Ambessa ult,
And you
it
go
still
flash
took
into the shockwave.
Yes,
well.
it still takes a lot of time to kill him, and they trade 1-for-1. And they've been a lot of their good tools to take him out. Look how low Andal and Willa are when Rich actually arrives. He pops all his cooldowns but has no follow-up. And look how healthy Dudu, Closer, and Dokdam are. So, honestly, the only thing I'll say about this is Dokdam, his ult just came up a little bit late. If his ult was up sooner, if he had mana sooner, that could have been a lot worse for DRX. That was way too many tools blown on that Pantheon. They were getting antsy, I think we could tell.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even pulling the trigger, it was 3 different people pulling the trigger at the same time. Overkill, I think. Definitely, so...
I think if UCal had have actually survived, got out of that shockwave and not just died at the very beginning of the fight, could have been a different story. Has a lot of consistent damage on this Azir.
I think also if they just held some of their tools, you know, if they hadn't, they don't need to use the Ambessa ult and the Nautilus ult. Pick one.
And maybe waiting for Rich to be there as well towards the beginning. I think when you can capitalize on the Ram, have a little bit of CC down beforehand to get those extra knockups, create that bounce house. These are sort of the things that DRX is going to be looking for. So a little bit suboptimal, but great for DNS to start this game off. They now have about 1,000 gold lead. Rich with his Rook Urn, though, completed. And so he's starting to care less and less about what this Rumble is doing.
Yeah. The hand reset for Dudu, so a big spike for him, but it's so hard to really have pressure in this match. I mean, you'll push him in, you'll have that sort of pressure, but it's hard to really permanently just break through that shield again and again at this point.
Kill threat is a more difficult one to get towards, as Pureshik going to look to try and get Willer out of here, but Banana Brush is going to be under DRX's control. Rich gets himself out of there, and now we're starting up the Drake yet again. We do have all of DNS in the vicinity. Public Execution comes down, gets on top of Pureshik. Once again, they really want to engage on to the Pantheon as Emperor's Divide is avoided by the Orianna, but now Closer is zoned away. Kind of a mixed up fight here as everyone's sort of all over the place. There's another solo ulti onto UCal, and he dies to the turret. Now an equalizer goes down as Peter is hunting Jiu, and there's the curtain call. I don't know whether Peter can kill him as Jiu is going to look to try and get over the wall, but never mind. Hoof to the noggin, and down goes the Ezreal. That was the opposite of all of that feedback that we gave to DRX.
Yes, they just blow everything again at the start of the fight. Once more onto the Pantheon, so they ult in, the follow-up isn't there. That's Ambessa ult, that's Nautilus ult, UCal goes for Closer, and then look how uncomfortable UCal's position is here. He's like, where do I go? There's a whole enemy team there. Can I go through the turret? No, he gets shockwave into the turret. This time, Dokdam has his ult immediately, and it goes so much worse. This is how it could have gone last fight if he had a good ult setup. This time he does, and yeah, they get decimated. So, didn't learn from the last setup, it seems, with DRX. DNS did, though. They had the General available, and they immediately punished them. Managed to pick up the Dragon. It's an Ocean Soul.
Not the best, but
not great.
Not the worst. Is now looking for a Rift Herald as well. DNS really starting to run away with this game now.
Yeah, this is a big goal lead. So this is really where DNS wanted to be at this point in the game. The early game was slower. It took a bit more time for them to get online, but 3.5k gold at 16 minutes.
Peter's making his way in. Dudu already there as Willow was tanking up the turret. Didn't really want to. As now Andal, speaking of didn't want to do things, now we've got an Emperor's Divide. Dudu just immunes it completely. Flash out from Peter as the Ornn has turned up, and Dudu is taking a lot of Sand Soldier auto attacks. Somehow it actually works out here for DRX. Not quite enough in the tank on the DNS side. Oh wow, is the equalizer on cooldown until Dudu died? Or did he just not use it?
I'm not. I assume it must have been on cooldown because there's no way he wouldn't have used it. He even tried to flash over the wall to finish them off and kind of failed the flash. So I assume it was on cooldown.
It was 5 seconds. So unfortunately, available from the death chamber.
I think what feels even worse about this is Pantheon's nowhere near for this play. If Pantheon was in ult range, think how badly this would have gone for DRX. But Dudu plays the initial part of this play good, right? Blocks the shuffle and then goes for the flash, but gets caught in the Azir wall. He saw Andal and Willa and was like, that's 2 free kills for me right now. And ended up kind of flubbing it and it backfiring. Really unfortunate there.
Suboptimal. We're about to head towards, 2-item spike territory, though, here for Jiu. He is going to start doing more than Dokdam in these fights. We have the first ornament complete on that Rook Urn for Rich. And so that is going to mitigate that gold advantage by just a little bit. And as you can see, it's only 2.6k. It's actually gone down by about 1,000. So not the end of the world here for DRX at this point in time. I think if I was Joker and I was doing a coach comms that they love to do, he'd call up and he'd say, guys, just hold on, okay? We've got it in the late game. As we often say, if we're trying to be the optimistic one in solo queue.
Yeah.
As now closer, could be Emperor's Divided, does actually. Shockwave is going to connect there as well, and Pyoshik turns up. So Yukal just once again dead. That was an odd decision to make. As Willer and Andal just say, well, Pigeon Man, you are dead, and
like
we will leave.
So many of the shuffles from Yukal just haven't gone well.
Yeah, it's just not quite
nice
in
dodge.
it. There we go. Sidestep from Doctarm is beautiful.
I mean, he had Flash as well, just confident in his mechanics. He
and
just
also
said, I can do
didn't
this.
have Swifties. So many Jins have Swifties, so that becomes even easier, but doesn't even have that.
Yeah, the Ghost Blade coming in clutch there for the movement speed.
True.
But just, I love the confidence, right? He has the summoner. He's like, no, I dodged those.
Yeah, absolutely did.
Yeah, so well played there. Here, Yukal again goes for a shuffle onto closer, but doesn't have the backup from the team. And I guess just forgets about the existence of Pantheon.
Yeah.
This time, you can see the difference of the play. You know, that bot side play onto the Rumble, Pantheon wasn't there to clean up. Ended up going DRX favored, even though it took a bit of time. Here, though, they try and make a play top side. Pantheon's there, immediately shuts it down. Kind of puts in a context. We were talking about this in the pre-show. These global picks, the impact they're having. Why the Pantheon is 100% win rate in playoffs so far, the LCK Cup. It's doing pretty good.
Yep, it's just pretty exceptional right now. And it works with so many things. Like the Pantheon Rumble I've seen just be so dominant in the early stages of the game. The combination of early damage is just so high, and then later on, you can really pick out a single target and eliminate them. And then if they turn to actually try and kill you, Aegis is so broken.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, old school Pantheon, before the rework, you just thought of him as that champion who's just so useless in the late game.
Yeah.
But he does so much damage now, and there's so much like armor pen for free on his ult, like the passive armor pen.
And the damage mitigation means that he's just not that squishy.
Yeah, he
and
scales
of course
pretty well.
Going in, I'm just not sure whether it's a good idea, as he gets a decent little shield, keeps himself alive for a while, and now Rich has turned up, does find the Ram, as they do get the knock-up onto the Orianna. Now Will is trying to get out of there, dealing with Dudu, who's silenced himself. Peter's looking a bit worse for wear, as Gio trying to get that damage down now onto Dudu. Willa makes it out to safety, and Rich is just trying to clonk people over the head with his hammer. Yukal gets caught by the Deadly Flourish, but makes his way out as he shifts to Sands, and Rich is able to get himself out of there. The curtains have been called, though. And the last bullet, not quite enough. Yukal just outranges it. I'm not sure how most of DRX survived that, but definitely good on him.
That was crazy. Yeah, outranging. That bullet was going to hit Yukal.
Oh, 100%.
A little bit closer.
It was underground, the good old underground, so you have no idea where the curtain call's range ends.
This was a pretty manic start to the fight. So again, going for that proactive play from DRX, and they managed to take out Closer here. Not much you can do in this situation being bounce housed, but unfortunately Dudu just doesn't quite have the damage to finish off Willa in this situation, and it feels like a little bit of split focus from DNS. They're just not able to finish off the targets very well, which makes sense. You know, Jiwoo and Yukal both quite mobile. We're getting more fighting, it seems.
We are just straight into another fight. Yukal in a bit of trouble yet again. Man, he is just not having a great time this game, as now Headbutt Pulverize onto Andal, and he should be set up on a silver platter for a double kill from Doctarm. And if I was to give any feedback, I'd probably say get it together, Yukal. That's probably where I would be in this one. He's been out of position, and that should be Soul Point going over to DNS, as Gio looks to try and get some scraps here in this mid lane, but isn't quite able to do so. Rich is starting to become that brick wall that we expect of him, but if they fall too far behind, it will not matter about the scaling conversation. They
can just kind of ignore him and then deal with him at the end of the fight, right? The CC is a big problem, of course, but if everyone else dies first, it's not really going to be too much of a concern. And Yukal just seems to always be dying at the start of the fight.
Yeah, let's see how that... Oh, he just wandered.
Yeah.
It's another surprise Pantheon scenario.
I think it's one of these situations where you're playing a Z, you feel so safe because you have that mobility, but the combo from Peter interrupts his dash, and then, okay, game over.
Yep. Well, let's see whether Yukal can avoid death for the 5th time in this series. The first 4, we'll give them to him. They can be a freebie. And now we'll see whether he can do better. As Rich is going to miss that cannon. Suboptimal there. And has hit level 14, can start doling out some of these ornaments to his teammates, which is going to be important. Very close to level 15 as well. And so we could have, you know, the Infinity Force and stuff like that looking pretty good there. Isn't it? It's Trinity Fusion or something like that, isn't it? The ornament version?
Actually, it's just Trinity Force brackets Masterwork brackets now.
Oh, no, it's not. No, I disagree. I know that that's what they did. That's because they did not want to consult me or, I guess, LS, because we were the ones that were talking about ornaments way too much back in the day. They didn't want to consult us on all of the names, and so therefore they just decided not to actually put the official names down. They still exist. They're just not written in the game. Okay. Because I think maybe we missed the email was in junk or something like that. We've got to get it out. Now, Andel is potentially caught out of, by potentially, I mean, he's very caught out of position. The curtains are called on Andel's life.
Yeah. Hey, Rich is still strong, right?
There you go.
That's relevant.
The Baron is probably gone.
Okay. Well, they're going to TP in. They're going to contest this.
Yeah. True Shot Barrage also gets a lot of value.
I mean, Baron takes a long time, and it is going to start chunking people out. They have Rich here. He's tanky to move in, so they move off the Baron.
Well, there is an equalizer that goes down. Pyoshik gets here as well, but we're flashing. And is the Arcane Shift going to be back? Yes, it is. Decent position there, but unfortunately, the Orb makes its way over the wall, and there is a dead 80 carry. This could be another opportunity for a Baron, as Yukal at least has a Shadow Flame that's a bit more upgraded. Just don't think that's going to quite help when Jiu is taking a bit of a dirt nap.
Okay, well, hit me with it. What's the upgraded Shadow Flame called?
It's Shadow Inferno.
Oh.
It's also the name of my first pop punk album. Pretty sure. Or my magic show.
Is that Lost Media? I would love to listen to it.
Yeah. Shadow Inferno. I really like it. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what the next master. What's the Spear of Sojin going to be? I have absolutely no idea. I don't think LS and I really figured that one out.
That's beyond me. Yeah. You're the expert on this.
Yeah. I'll get back to it. We were just...
You've got some time yet, hopefully.
Yeah, maybe Black Cleaver is in a better position, and we can do the Obsidian Cleaver.
That's what you're hoping for.
Officially,
probably presumably going to upgrade Jiwoo first, so maybe you're safe for a bit longer anyway.
Yeah, there we go. I like that. Willet taking out his Gromp, though, and it's a 5,000 gold lead, and the Soul Point is there for DNS. Yeah. They are in so much control of this game. This is going to be a real tough one for DRX to find an angle on, and maybe they'll just have to talk to themselves about, oh, but our ornaments are mitigating so much of this gold advantage because they represent so much money's worth of stats. Haha. And I just don't know whether that's going to work if DRX continue to have their members be out of position at the beginning of these teamfights. Like, their composition... It's so good in a front to back, but don't back to front, you know? That's what you got to do.
How much gold value do you lose if your Azir just dies at the start of every fight? You know, you have to factor that in when you're calculating these things. It's like, oh, plus 1,000 for each ornament, minus, you know, 9,000, 10. How much is it? Like 11,000 maybe at this point for Yukal being dead? Maybe not even that. He doesn't have that many items. So.
Oh, by the way, from chat, what's an upgraded Bandle Pipes? A Bandle Symphony. Oh, that's beautiful. I love that.
Honestly, I'm kind of sad Peter's not on the team with the Ornn now.
I know.
He's already a Bandle Piper.
Where is the Bandle Pipes? Oh. And Rich was our OG Bandle Piper, was he not? He was. He was the first one to... I know it was on his Cassante. Now Duda could be in a little bit of trouble and does have the equalizer down, and now the Ram comes on through. Rich seeing what he can get done here as there's the public execution to bring Willa back in. Shockwave connects onto 2 though, and DRX, I think they're running out of time as Doctor's going to turn up. The Empress Divide goes entirely wide after the flash though, and once again, Yukal immediately dies. Oh, it's just not the best day. It's now Pyoshik going to dive on top, and I think that's all she wrote on this one, ladies and gentlemen. Triple here for Doctor. And DNS, I think, may have just broken the metaphorical camel's back.
Yeah, this one not looking good. Trying to find a play on the Dudu, and you know what? I think it kind of makes sense. You're trying to find a sort of pick onto someone before the start of the fight, but the problem is it's an Ornn and an Ambessa onto a pretty bulky Rumble, and you're in the enemy jungle, so of course they're going to get that pretty quickly. Yukal goes for this play, and he tries to flash to follow the flash of Doctor, but even if he does, I mean, yeah, he maybe does manage to kill Doctor in this situation at best, but he's dead anyway. I just feel like he's keeps going for these plays, and he just keeps ending up in bad situations. He had to seek his arm guard, didn't get a chance to use it there. The Azir just not working out.
It's just it's not really providing what it needs to. However, on the other side, this Jhin is really working.
Yeah.
Which is confusing and upsetting me.
Well, I think part of it is he didn't build rapid fire second.
Oh, that's a. I mean, he's going to build it fourth.
Yeah, but he has more damage items before that.
That's a good point.
Also already has the LDR, right?
The biggest deal is that he's hitting almost all of his curtain call shots in teamfights, and that's working out very effectively.
Yep. Also, Rich didn't really have armor until he bought that chain vest. That helps a lot.
Yeah.
So definitely a contributing factor.
Well, speaking of Rich, Peter with the headbutt, that was beautiful. He may still die, but he's got an unbreakable will, and that is going to keep him alive. Finds a double pulverize there as well as Equalizer goes down. Willer is definitely dead, cannot ulti out of that one, as the Emperor's Divide from the grave for Yucal does next to nothing. The Shockwave, so good out of closer, and DRX just lose 3 in the blink of an eye, and now Pyoshik is looking for even more. Down will go Jiu, and is that going to be the ace? They save Rich till last because he takes the longest time, and Jiu has an endless hunger, but unfortunately I think he's still going to be hungry, as he may not even get out of the death chamber before the Nexus explodes. DNS looking to break open the base.
And honestly, at this point, DRX, the game looks pretty doomed. 13,000 gold disadvantage, the Ocean Soul in pocket as well, pushing with the Baron. They should be able to be up in time before the game ends, but I'm not sure they can really do too much to prevent it. No, DNS look to try and finish now or back off and play it safe. Looks like they'll just push in.
Is there an Andal Penta angle? That's what we've got to see. But I don't think so, as Yucal has respawned. Hook is going to connect there onto Dudu, but they're focusing down the Nexus turrets, and Andal dies as an afterthought. Willer is trying to deal with these minions as best he can, as now Peter just wandering towards the fountain and doesn't seem too worried. Another Shockwave going to connect. The Pigeon dies on the fountain. The cow goes down as well, but it does not matter. The Nexus will fall, and DNS move up 1-0 in the series.
I think so many of the plays in this game were aggressive plays from DRX when honestly they didn't need to be. But also, Yucal on the Azir was not it. Fortunately, he is fearless. We won't have to see him on that again. And Andal not really having a good game when he's been one of the star players for this DRX lineup. So rough from them, but DNS not missing a beat, right?
No.
Draft, I think, had a lot of strengths to it. Dudu on the Rumble doing a million damage, but Pyoshik on the Pantheon leading the charge. This is the pick with a 100% win rate in the LCK Cup playoffs. It is maintaining that win rate, and you can see why he is piloting it extremely well and demonstrating the pick strength completely.
Yeah, and I feel like DRX kind of fell into the same trap that we've seen in the past. The On is often seen as this option into the Rumble, but I think you need a lot more around it in order to make things happen.
Man.
And yeah, the whole Azir situation, I'm glad that it's fearless.
Wadid's going to be so smug right now.
He is going to be smug.
But it's only game one.
We have to remember that this is all based on the fact that we had Pyoshik flip heads.
True.
And we'll just have to see whether he flips heads once again in game number 2. Time for us to take a short break. When we get back, the space and smug Wadid, and then we'll get into that second game. We'll see you soon.
오케이.
야 나이스.
천천히
안
봐줄래?
뺏어,
더
해볼게. 더 봐줘, 더 봐줘. 박아도 돼, 박아도 돼.
안 뺏어.
세게.
안 뺏어.
더 볼게, 더 볼게.
오른쪽
딜라인 볼게, 딜라인 볼게.
일
잡았어.
괜찮아.
나공 있어, 나공 있어.
비전 빠져.
야야 써봐.
이제 노플이야, 이제 노플. 나 우승 펴줄게.
이제 비전 없어, 당장 없어.
이제 노플이야, 이제 노플. 얘도 노플. 노플이야.
가자.
오케이, 가자.
쭉 갈게.
쭉 가봐, 노플이야.
아니, 내가 할게. 그냥 가봐.
맞췄어.
미드 탑 가자.
In select for game number 2, DNS this time will be on the blue side with second pick, and DRX, as mentioned by the space, will be picking first. Let's see what they're going to be taking away.
Yeah, and I think just a big aspect of it was like securing those huge picks, the draft advantage. You know, I hope DRX, obviously it was gameplay, it was also draft. If they can adjust a lot in this game too, hopefully can come out and look to equalize the series. DN Supers once again banning away the Bard, but they are in second pick in this situation where you just don't have as much freedom.
Yeah. And we don't need to worry about, you know, Azir Oriannas, things like that anymore as far as these bans are concerned. Has opened the floor a little as Gwen going to be taken away as well. I wonder what that necessarily means. For Rich's pick here towards the top side, might be a Renekton angle or something like that we're looking for. Just have to see. Unless he wants to play Sion. Oh god, it means he wants to play Sion, doesn't it?
I mean, we've seen a lot of Gwen bans, you know, just in general. The pick is pretty frustrating to deal with and scales very well. And it looks like DNS are kind of locked into what they're banning.
Yeah.
They're like, we don't want you to play these champs irrespective. Something to have in mind is that Varus hasn't had a... Varus is presumably the third ban, right? That's our assumption. Nocturne would be taken away by DRX.
Oh.
Varus not looked at. Ryze instead taken away. So presumably DRX has first picked the Varus in this situation. And Nico also available. I think that's why it was a big deal for DRX to ban the Nocturne. Nocturne's been a great pick for Pioshik, but Nocturne, Nico, very scary to play into, especially if DRX do secure this Varus first pick. You wouldn't want to play in a Nocturne Nico.
Oh, Zinzao. Wait.
Go for Zinzao instead.
Yeah, they can pick Varus Nico now, though. And once again, the DN Supers are off to a ridiculous start.
Varus Nico is a pretty tough bot lane to play into.
That doesn't sound like a whole lot of fun.
Also,
this part of it makes a lot of sense.
Nico for Peter is great.
Yeah.
A pick he is, for a lot of last year, was one of our better Nicos. There was a period of time where they were really struggling. Looks like they're not going to immediately snap it up now, though.
Wow.
Going for the Ahri instead for closer.
The blind Ahri. Knowing that the Talia is probably what Yukao wants to play, they're just going to preemptively go for the theoretical counter pick.
I feel like the Ahri does better in this matchup. I feel like a lot of players are happy to take the Ahri in.
Oh yeah, they always pick into it. That's very true. I don't know whether, like, I feel like Ahri should do worse into Talia, but
I feel like you can just circumvent the Unraveled Earth, and you can always like set up the longer range charm. So I think it's pretty fine. I think DRX could take like Aurora in this situation. They are just going to go for the Sivir for now. Sivir into Varus is one of the better AD carries into it. You can kind of neutralize a lot of his poke. You can just wave clear, match that in the lane. So if you are going to let the Varus open, you do want to make sure you get that Sivir in hand, which they do secure. And overall, if you're going to have a composition into Varus, Zinzao Sivir does a pretty good job, right? In terms of limiting the impact of what the Varus can do with sort of bursting people out. Looks like it will be that Aurora coming through as well. Presumably for Yukao, but there is that flexibility option into the top lane if they really want to.
Yep.
And now for the DN Supers, are you going to commit to that Nico for Peter? That is what we expect. Or do you really want to make sure you secure a jungler here?
Yeah,
Something to match the Zinzao.
Not entirely sure. You could just go for a Jarvan or a Wukong, which is what Pioshik does want to do. A little bit more teamfight presence, a bit more extra damage with that Cyclone. And so we're going to be taking that, scaling up towards level 6, and Odin looking pretty chuffed about his first 3 picks. And let's get into some bans, see what's going to be taken away. Top lane is probably what we're looking at, but it's a bit difficult with the flexibility of the Aurora. And now we're probably going to see maybe supports banned away. I think maybe a Nico. Yeah, Nico just going to hit the deck immediately.
I think Nico's a good one. You could also get rid of Rakan if you're scared of like the Wukong-Rakan combination being a little bit of concern. Karma, I think, is good. Sivir Karma, really strong combo. The double movement speed, you can especially buff up the Zinzao. Zinzao plus Enchanters has always been really threatening. And Karma feels really good about rushing early Mikhails, and Mikhails has insane value into this DN Super's composition. We'll see if they end up actually going for the Cassante in the situation. The Dusante going to be denied here.
Definitely a worthwhile ban, but does open the floor for something like a Rakan, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, they have counter pick and can decide themselves whether they want it for top lane or support. I think you could just go something like the Rakan, play it safe, have that team fighting power, the synergy with the Wukong, which they are going to do.
Yeah.
And keep Dudu and give him the counter pick into Rich. A lot of top laners, I mean, I say a lot, you know, it's Cassante, it's Gwen. A couple of top laners already taken away.
Will he just play Sion? That's my question. Kind of hoping not. Will mean that he'd be straight into a Rek'Sai most likely. But let's see what Rich is going to be playing here, whether it will be the Aurora, whether it will be something else. And Kennen is getting some nods out of Rich right now. An interesting blind pick. We don't see this blinded all that often, but Aurora is often picked into it, and Ryze is another option into it, as we heard Vikla talking about in the pre-show. And so a little bit of a better option here is now Dudu thinking about Yorick. Wow, I did forget about Yorick Mori. I'm sorry about that one. And it is going to be locked away. So going for a little bit of that split push angle. Certainly a lot of sustain to try and help you through the lane up against the Kennen, but doesn't exactly feel like the most ultimate pick into Kenny.
Yeah, I think in the side lane, Kennen's not going to have a fun time. You know, you are just going to lose out in that matchup. Getting trapped in the cage, if that does happen, feels really uncomfortable, takes you a while to kill it. And obviously, you know, you don't have a dash. You do kind of have to use your mobility to avoid the cage. If you get trapped in it, you have to kill the cage or flash out. But you're going to offer a lot more in team fights in general than the Yorick does.
Yep.
There is a lot of engaged potential from the side of the DN Supers, but you are dealing with a Sivir who can obviously has that spell shield available, and you're playing into Kennen Aurora, which is a lot of threat in general with those big AoE circle-based ultimates.
The power of the circles is quite high, not to mention getting Andal into position, right, with On the Hunt. I think On the Hunt is going to be very valuable. Kennen and Leona both absolutely love added movement speed, and so that is certainly going to work out, not to mention the Xin Zhao, who also wants to be sticky onto his targets. So I think DRX feeling a lot better with how this draft works. However, the play is going to have to match that, because there were certainly some questionable moments in game number 1 as well. Hopefully, Joker has given them the right feedback and they can get back onto the horse here to allow us to have a series that goes the distance. Let's go to the Rift for game 2. All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, onto the Rift for game number 2. And let us see who is going to be coming out on top for this one. Already, just getting a bit of information here. Yukal spots the monkey. There you go, beautifully done. And Peter is going to potentially face check and may have to press some buttons to avoid death, things like that.
Oh, but he's
dead.
fine.
Yeah,
he just Qs and then
fine.
Dr. did some damage in return, and it's okay. Again, Andal going for the Aftershock on Leona, another champion who doesn't strictly need this, and we've seen a lot of spellbook on Leona, but one of that extra survivability, one of that extra tankiness, and it does synergize really well with her her Eclipse. But Peter going for the spellbook, I do feel like it makes a lot of sense on Rakan, because otherwise you'd go Guardian, which is kind of as a rune.
Yeah. One of the good things here for DRX is the fact that they did get Leona into Rakan, which has been a pretty decent matchup. Having a look here, though, Closer has always been a bit of a fan of playing Ahri at any opportunity. And so we'll see whether he can have the impact that he wants to. I think Ahri does really like to get ahead to feel valuable. So we'll see whether it is going to be one of these no damage Ahris or whether it's going to be the hard carry version. Of course, you just have to watch some of the Showmaker games to understand what an Ahri can really do if given a lot of leeway.
Yeah, Aurora also, though, a pick that we've seen do some crazy amounts of damage if you can get ahead. And Yukal also go and Ignite on the Aurora, so really looking to try and snowball on this pick.
The old Ignite Electrocute for as much damage as possible earlier on in the game, as Gio is going to be able to pick up that cannon, but Did miss one of those casters. Not super happy about that one, as Gio does need to be a little careful, but he'll be all right, as now Yukal will throw down that Ignite that we were talking about, but loses out on the trade as there's a Zenith Blade in. Turret shot is taken here by Andal, but does have the Aftershock to help that health bar. It's only level 2, so I believe Eclipse not actually leveled just yet.
Yeah, Trader heals there, but it is teleport for Dogdam, barrier for Jiwoo, so extra combat summoner there, but it doesn't really matter if the damage is focused on the supports.
And that's got to feel bad as the Gleaming Quill heal comes through, as Gio steps past the minion wave, looks to try and do stuff, and then all of that stuff gets kind of mitigated.
Looks like they may be setting up for a dive here.
Is that optimistic?
This could be really dangerous because I think Doctor might try and teleport back.
Well, Willer is going to try and turn the wind into lightning, and does do so. Let's see whether this is going to work out. It's all on Andal, whether he can connect that Zenith Blade. Instead, he just walks up and tries to take down Doctom. Survives as well, as now Peter in some trouble. Gio doesn't pick up the turret aggro, and Willer is looking to make his way back. There's the flash out, and yeah, just sacrifices himself in order to pick up the double for Gio. This is exactly what DRX wanted to start with.
I mean, here's the thing. Doctom has no cleanse, has teleport instead, doesn't even get a chance to flash, and the redive, such a good play, ends up giving a second kill over to Jiwoo. The recall stop from Willer here, and I think Peter does everything he can. Gets the double knock up here, but Doctam just gets locked up and blown up. And in this situation, they make the call. They're like, we're going to sacrifice a jungler to make this play happen. He goes down, and Jiwoo ends up picking up the kill, even gets a blue buff as well. 2 kills now for this Sivir. A great start for DRX.
And this was going to be a point of power for DNS, is the laning phase of the Varus is just so dangerous. It should be not too much of an issue here for Jiwoo now, with a couple of kills under his belt, now with a Sheen. And we'll just look to try and clear out waves as much as possible. This is the problem with Sivir getting ahead, is that she just makes the lane non-interactive. You just wipe out waves over and over again. You don't need to worry about it. It's not necessarily a thing just yet, but it will be, as that Essence Reaver has certainly been fast-tracked for right now.
Especially when you get Essence Reaver. I mean, Essence Reaver Navori is really where you feel frustrating because you have infinite mana and infinite cooldowns, but to already have a blue buff on a Sivir, I mean, one of the problems with Sivir is you're gated early by your mana, and you have a blue buff, so that's just not a thing. Not so fun of a matchup now for this bot lane 2v2. And you can see Dr. and Peter playing pretty far back, having to try and farm with the arrows and not really succeeding.
Yeah, at least the wave is pushing towards them, so that is good news. A little bit difficult for a champion like Sivir to hold the wave if you do like pressing W. All right, Willer will be starting off this first Cloud Dragon, so a little bit sad, am I, is that we don't get a Cloud Soul, but that's okay. First little Drake here to get a little bit of added movement speed and slow resistance. Going to be feeling all right about that one. The Zenith Blade does go wide. Boomerang Blade does hit once onto Doctom. It looks like the Drake is going to be foregone for now, as Pyoshik was rotating down. Level 5 for both of our junglers, very close to level 6 for Pyoshik in particular.
Yeah, Pyoshik helps to push mid and help Closer move down first, and I think the threat of the level 6 Ahri was just a bit too much. Didn't want to sort of engage in what could end up being a lot of resets for the Ahri, so understandably they end up backing away.
All right, well.
This is our mandated look towards top lane.
Yeah, sometimes you just have to do it, even if it's not all that interesting. Currently things very, very even between the two. A little bit of a Mr. Pandaria theme for that particular Yorick skin. Bit of a fan.
Which one is this?
I don't actually know what it's called, but it looks like a, what is it, the Shah, I think.
Oh yeah,
from Miss. Anyway, we do have the grand entrance coming on through, and there's a great charm onto Andal. He gets exhausted, and he's going to go down. That is going to be just a free kill for DNS, as Yukal does offer a fair bit of damage back towards Closer, who does have the ulti now on cooldown, but finds the charm as well, and Yukal just kind of caught napping, does avoid the true damage on that Orb of Deception. And now Doctom also getting aggressive against Jiu. Let's see whether Jiu can actually stand his ground. It looks like they are going to agree to back away and just go back home.
Yeah, some heavy trading. Jiu even using the barrier there in that trade, and still it being about even in the end. Not committing the ult though.
And what were we looking for here, DRX?
Who knows?
Had the inside track, and so it was never really going to be a good idea.
Yeah, also into Ahri, Rakan, Wukong specifically, very hard to catch them, very easy for them to catch you, as you see in this moment as well. Yukal not respecting the remaining ult stacks that Closer had.
Did get the cannon though, so...
That's something. Yeah, this trio, I mean, that DNS clearly prioritized a lot, the Rakan, Ahri, Wukong. It's so hard to set up on them. All of them have a ton of dashes. All of them can sort of, you know, with the Rakan can dash to either the Wukong or the Ahri. They can go in, they can go out so easily. It's kind of like they choose to fight. If they see a favorable situation, they will go in. If they don't, they will back off. It does mean it's hard to find these skirmishes. You kind of want to be looking for more for a setup where you can get onto, say, in a mobile Varus. Is much easier to find a fight on.
Yeah. Let's see whether they can figure things out a little bit better as we move further forward. Because it hasn't looked like the DRX well-oiled machine we have seen in some of their series so far this season. But certainly looking better than game number 1. There's a nice little stun there from Rich. But he gets put into the ghoulie cage, and he may just die. Slicing Maelstrom does have to be used very defensively. And the Maiden, oh no! Okay, so the Maiden falls. Dudu will have another one, I guess.
Just let it go.
In a while, but he just didn't really seem to care.
Yeah, that seemed very...
I'm a bit sad.
Yeah, I seem to not be too concerned. Does get the plate though. He'll take that.
Rich does manage to get the stun, but there's another goalie wall, and the flash is just not going to do anything at all. So that's a solo bolo there from Dudu.
Yeah, did not need to stick around for that.
No.
Did stick around for that. And paid for it. And also, look at Dudu's items. Yeah. He didn't have much damage. Just make treads. It's not going to get better.
It's not looking like it, especially not with plays like that. So Rich getting punished just a little bit here as Pioshik looking for this dragon. Willer is going to make his way in. Let's see whether he can actually get there. It is Pioshik that secures the dragon, but can they actually win the fight? As in goes Yukal, finds between worlds, and down will go the Leona first. Does manage to get the fadeaway onto Pioshik. He's unable to escape as now Jiu getting aggressive. Great spell shield, the flash, and Jiu was able to lock down the Rakan. Picks up another for Yukal as now Closer is taking matters into his own hands, and Yukal is trying to get out of those hands as quickly as possible. There's the Orb of Deception, the flash forward, but it's not enough. And Closer, in fact, almost dies to the Q fadeaway from Yukal. Man, that was close.
Both mid laners coming up huge in that fight. The target selection from them is excellent. Oh, we'll get a replay of this.
Oh no.
Yeah, he just doesn't even have much damage, so he doesn't just kill him with that first Q.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, big
Gotta feel
agree.
rough.
Big agree on that one.
So in this fight, Pioshik nearly actually survives, which is crazy. He gets engaged onto, he gets jumped, gets the ult off and kills Andal. And then he gets over the wall, but Yukal manages to snipe him on the back end. And then they start cleaning up. Yukal moves in, helps Jiwoo secure this kill onto Dokdam. And then it's Closer getting the reset. So both mid laners are last to survive, getting a lot of value here.
It's a lot of money for the Ahri.
So close.
Oh, man. If it was Closer that got the red buff, he would have probably got the kill.
He would have.
Unfortunately, Yukal got that one. He got the blue. And now, as it stands, almost 1,000 gold for DNS as far as their lead is concerned. They also have the first dragon as well. And so it actually works out just fine. Spell shield just for a comment there. At least you always get a consolation prize if you spell shield late against a Varus.
Just look at the health pack, right?
There you go. A little bit of something.
But it's a lead again for DNS, which doesn't...
No. It's all right. Nimbus Strike gets him.
Okay, we're good. Yeah, it's a lead again for DNS, which doesn't feel too good. It's Bandle Pipes already for...
Oh! He is
It's
Bandle
just-
Piper.
I thought we'd see a lot less Bandle Pipes with the fact they increased the cost. But Peter's fully committed to the Bandle Pipers.
He's just a musician, man.
Yeah, at heart. So, fair play.
Yep. One of the issues here for DNS this time around is that it's a Sivir who has an advantage. DRX with money in the right spot. And they are now going to try and feed him. Solar Flare doesn't do too much as Pioshik in a great position, but that's a very wide ulti out of Dokdam, and so Chains of Corruption not hitting means the DNS is going to have to back away. Willow looking to make his way in, finds the wind becomes lightning, but Peter is still looking for more. especially after that piercing arrow does connect. Is now Rich looking for an angle here. Does just want to kill the minions. And no.
Walk the maiden away.
Just, yeah, please. Oh, 50 gold over to Rich. Dude needs way better maiden management.
Yeah, he's just so uncaring, honestly.
It really is. It's distressing.
You know, Valentine's Day wasn't that long ago.
No, it was only a few days ago. Oh, man. Well, Dudu, certainly some feedback for him as we move past this game, but we do have to get through it first. Match point on the line as Pyosik just steals away the red buff. That might be a hint as to where he is on the coin flip. Looking pretty good at the moment with about a 400 gold advantage over his opposition. As Yukal, nice little avoidance there. As Rich is looking like he's feeling a little bit better here in this lane.
He has the Gunblade completed, and I do think the fact that this is an item does make Kennen do a fair bit better into some of these trickier matchups. The sort of side lane split pushes, you have the sustain off the item, bit of AD as well.
Yep. He also has a Cull ticking up, and so that'll help him mitigate the advantage just a little. As Doctor,
you've been spotted.
Oh dear. He does spot that there is someone there. Comet going to give that one away, but it does mean that he's zoned away from this turret for now. We do have DRX all moving through this jungle. Andal spots that control ward, so they can move out of the way of that if they would like to as well, as Pyosik on a ward. This is a lot of DRX territory here, but at least Doctor was able to make it to the wave. Be able to pick that one away, as Willa gets lit on fire here preemptively. Hail of Arrows does come down to try and slow him up. Chains of Corruption max range, as they do throw a lot of their damage into the Crescent Guard, but Willa is still going to go down. Andal trying to escape, and DNS team fighting beautifully once again. Jiu trying his very best to kite this one out, and down will go the Rakan. Pyosik does take out Andal though, and Jiu is looking real worse for wear at the end of that play.
Oh, Kennen coming on the flank though.
Yeah, close up. He's looking to be his option. Yeah, he's just going to get shot with a gun and a blade. Cut with the blade, shot with a gun, and all with the same item. Closer is just dead. That is going to be the kill going over to Rich. A little bit of money back in his pocket, and that Cull still hasn't cashed in.
Tower likely dead though. No TPs on the rest of the team, so...
Why does the Maiden keep coming back? It knows that Dudu doesn't care. Wow.
Because she loves him.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
Love is a weird thing. Anyway, we do have DRX now back out onto the map. 8-7, a little bit more bloody is this game, close to a kill a minute. Actually, we are at exactly a kill a minute. That feels pretty good. And this Drake, likely to even things out here.
A lot of ults on cooldown for this.
Oh, we're going between the worlds. As Doctor could be in a little bit of angle and does find it. There's the solo bolo. Just leaving him a little bit on his lonesome as Dudu makes his way over. Yukal, I think, might be dead. Yeah, Solar Flare not going to help out, and that is just a Q thwack to the head with a shovel. They do trade it for a dragon, though, as 1-for-1 in that trade, and oh my goodness, it's a Hextech Soul. Oh, that's a scary one.
He did use literally everything to kill Dogdam, so it makes sense he'd just immediately die afterwards with a chase down.
All right, Yorick and the Maiden are walking back towards the top lane, so I imagine DNS not wanting to fight this one too much.
I do think Dudu's got the right idea, though. You know, we have so many Yoriks who just keep trying to team fight, and he knows.
Do that. He doesn't even want the Maiden with him.
Yeah.
He wants to be as alone as possible.
Maybe that was a misinterpretation, right? It was like, you need to be alone in the side lane, and that's what he... That was the confusion.
I get it. Completely makes sense.
Okay, Dogdam oversteps here a bit. Yukal slides in with the Rocket Belt and even flashes in for the kill. Does get the reset on the W, but Peter catches him with a knock-up, and then, yeah, you're just dead. Yeah. So goodbye.
I actually feel like Dudu's rotations have been really, really effective, though. Comes in, tidies up a kill or two, and then focuses back on the side lane immediately. DNS going to use their power in the Yorick in order to try and take down this Rift Herald, and that will be secured by Pyosik. They do just make their way out. So, swift little take. DRX within touching distance, absolutely. I think this should even out the gold almost entirely as Rich takes down this turret. It's going to be second of the game, first for DRX. Not getting that first turret blood gold or anything like that, so maybe not going to give them that much of a gold injection, as now Willer is looking to try and take down Dudu. Man, that Ghoulie wall actually working out very effectively as Yuka comes over, wants to get that damage through. 2 versus 1, and Dudu just wants out. Pyoshik's making his way in though, so maybe he wants back in again. Oh, the ghouls get mad, and down goes Willer. This Yorick is a big problem here for DRX, as there's the quickness. Andil just going to get charmed up and destroyed. It's a double for Pyoshik, whose coin seems to have 2 heads on it today.
Good response from DNS moving up, but dude, you saw the flock of ghouls jump on a Willer, and immediately you're like, oh man.
Is that the collective noun of ghouls? A flock?
I don't think so.
I didn't know they were avian. It's interesting. I don't know what the actual.
I don't know what the actual. I don't know what it is.
Wait, maybe I could, if I just Google it, maybe I can figure it out.
Maybe we should know. This is a learning opportunity.
The collective noun of ghouls. Maybe there is one. Not entirely sure. While there is no single official collective noun for ghouls, ones used commonly in fantasy and horror contexts are a rot of ghouls.
A rot of ghouls.
A rot of ghouls. I like that one a lot. I'm going to call it a rot of ghouls.
Yeah.
Because it also sounds like I have a speech impediment while I'm saying that there's lots of ghouls. Oh, that's a rot of ghouls.
It's a really strong accent.
Yeah. Yes, maybe it's not even a speech impediment. Maybe I've just decided to have an accent when I'm talking about ghouls. And that makes me feel fancy. Okay, back on track. Sorry, everyone. We are going to see whether DRX can find a way back in here, as Doctarm does get hit by a double tap of the boomerangs, and they do manage to take themselves a plate. And DNS's gold lead is not exactly substantial. I think we're going to see a real change in this game in about 1.5 minutes.
It still feels pretty close, but I think Dudu's an issue in the side lane, and I just think the Wukong Ari is so strong. But it's Jiwoo. It's can Jiwoo survive the initial engage from the other side? That's the question mark. But it's going to come down to that dragon fight, as you said. So Hextech Soul obviously puts a lot of emphasis on it. We have a lot of team fighting tools. We have a lot of explosive power.
And it's 2 items on to this Yorick, as well as Closer doesn't have quite as many. Does have to use the ulti to get himself out of there, as Pyoshik once again in position. Great orbit deception there to make sure that Yukal takes as much damage as possible. Yep. I think it certainly is a fair bit of flipping heads. Man, that's a rot of ghouls. I love it, man. I love it. This is my favorite collective now.
You know what's really sad?
What's really sad?
A lot of people have really talked about the pros of Fearless, but you're only going to be able to use a rot of ghouls once this series, like for one game. Yeah.
Oh, why did you have to say it?
I'm sorry.
Say it for this
but
whole
get
game.
the most out of it in this game is what I'm saying.
I mean, if you've you have the most experience with the Slurkle, you know that I'll get the most out of it.
Oh, I know.
When there is a new thing to say, I'll be saying it.
I'm sure you'll bring it up in the later games as well. You'll be like, wow, this reminds me of last game when we had a Rot of Ghouls.
Exactly. Do you know what they could use? They could definitely use a Rot of Ghouls right now. All right. Chains of Corruption comes down after the Spell Shield, and Jiu, he flashes, but he's still very dead. Peter likely to be the trade, but that is not fair. And DRX not going to be feeling very happy about that one. Andil? I'm not sure about that one, buddy. That was sometimes you press E because you want to.
Closer's not even there.
Yeah.
They don't even have the Ari there. Yeah, so into the fight, both teams had a lot of tools available, but one team killed the enemy's Fed Sivir, and the other team, well, they just died. So, yeah, definitely felt like one team hit the mark better than the other.
Oh dear, Ghoulie Wall goes down, but Dudu is just focusing on trying to take away this blue buff.
Yeah, Willer does have Smite though, so I think he's better equipped to secure that. That is, we'll put that in the positive column for DRX. In the column.
It does distract Willer enough for that Drake to be completely free. Let's have a look at this one more time though.
Yeah, spell shielding the Rain of Arrows, not the best play.
No.
And if you are going to do that, then you need to flash the Chains of Corruption. And then
yeah, we didn't need to focus on
just because you
Zenith
can doesn't mean you should.
Yes, I think that's what we learned.
Yeah, and Andal's been having a rough series, which feels bad because he's been so good in the LCK Cup.
Well, Rich is trying not to die underneath this turret. Doesn't have an arm guard, does have to flash. As Yukal looking to make his way in. Oh god, again! The Maiden is turned into 50 gold for the enemy team. Studu is really, he just wants to be alone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Rich did kind of just go in, get ghoulie walled, and just, yeah, have to flash out. Cannon flash being down. It will be down for Dragon as well. Not ideal.
Yeah, that's going to be up in 4 minutes' time, and that will be Soul Point for DNS, and it's Hextech Soul Point as well. And they have a lot of poke with this Varus, so that Hextech Soul will get a lot of value. Willa does now have the Black Cleaver completed. That is going to feel good. But DRX are once again, it feels like they're circling the drain, even though this game hasn't neared its conclusion just yet.
Go on, Max, say it.
It's feeling a little bit dire.
It feels like the tempo vibes.
It really does, man.
Yep.
Oh dear. I appreciate you. Thank you for being the one to say the tempo vibes before me, so I don't just sound
I knew you wanted to say it, right? But you didn't want to be the first to bring it up, so...
Yeah. Oh, you're just the best, Orcs. All right, well, let's see whether DRX can do anything to mitigate the overwhelming presence of the DNS tempo vibes.
They do have big, cool, circle-based ultimates, right?
Yeah.
So there is that they have going for them, but it's just, it feels like they haven't been able to really have those circles overlap, you know, at the same time in a team fight together.
And if you make a whole bunch of circles, then that feels like a Beyblade arena, and then that feels exactly like what you need in order for Sivir to succeed, right? And,
yeah.
So that's what DRX need to try and do.
That's what we're going for.
I just don't see this Yorick as being something that they can do anything about at this point in time. Dudu is just getting very large. Look at this crystalline overgrowth. It is about to pop. He's decided not to press the button, wants to eliminate as many of these minions as possible. As, yeah, Rich, he knows that there are people in there, but because there are people in there, he cannot make it towards the turret. So that one definitely goes down, takes a bunch of his minions with it. As DRX looking for a cross map, but there is no one really presenting themselves, and there is a lot of vision here for DNS, so they still have a lot of information as to what's going on here. And Gio is going to get interrupted. They now know that that ward is there.
I think one of the things that playing split pushes is, you know, when you're putting so much pressure on the side lane like this, the response typically is stop Baron, right? But this season, Baron's so hard to kill.
Yukal is not looking that hard to kill.
No, I think he's goodbye.
Oh, yeah. Duda comes up, and that is going to be Doc Down delivered the kill.
Yeah, Baron's so hard to kill that just DRX, even with both solo laners pushing in, they were like just not even putting any sort of pressure towards the Baron. DNS eventually go fine, whatever, will teleport in, kill Yukal. Now they're starting the Baron. Maiden there for the DPS as well. DRX are looking to contest though.
Trying to get in. There's the flash forward. Decent stun there. And Peter is going to go down before really doing too much of anything at all. Andal looking a little worse for wear right in the mixer and will get taken down. The rest of DRX trying to do some work. And Jiu, Spell Shield now on cooldown. They see that. Flash out from Jiu, but he walks into the ghoulie wall. What was that? Oh no, now flash out from Willa, but he is still going to die. And DNS put them all on the ground. They turned them into a rot of ghouls.
They literally did. And Dudu, finding the team fight power of the Yorick, apparently, catches the Sivir with the ghoulie wall somehow.
Was there a little muffin in the middle or something like that?
Maybe a cupcake.
No.
Yeah, so this actually initially, I think, started off pretty fine for DRX. The fact that they mitigated Peter's engage. He gets stunned by Andal, gets stunned again by Rich, and dies before really connecting. Yes, Andal goes down in return, but a 1-for-1 trade and stopping the Baron, this is okay. They are on the wrong side of the map, though, so they're a bit uncomfortable. Jiwoo spell shields at the wrong time, flashes out, runs into the ghoulie wall. Just completely misplays that entire passage.
There wasn't a lot of redeeming that.
No, no other way to spin it.
No.
Everything wrong.
At least you get to just pick up the whole lot of that team fight and put it straight into the cons column.
Yeah.
You know, you don't need to worry about sorting it. No, we know where it all goes.
Don't do that. Don't do that. And now, DNS pick up. They've already got the Baron. They've already got a huge gold lead. They got a third dragon as well.
8,000 gold lead. That's a big one.
Yeah. It's just crazy that his flash was burned by like a flash glob from Yorick. And then he gets caught by a ghoulie wall. The team fighting
No,
DRX.
he didn't get caught by it. He wandered into it. Oh, dear. Well, now DNS are bearing down on the structures of DRX.
Look, if you have a trap with a little bit of cheese in and it catches the mouse, you still say it caught the mouse, even though the mouse wandered into it.
Oh, that is a good point.
That's
but there was no cheese. There was no cheese.
That we saw, you know.
Ah, okay. The hidden cheese. It definitely is. As Ju's trying his very best to clear out these minions. He is Sivir, so he can at least do that relatively effectively. Problem is, this crystalline overgrowth is going to get popped. Dudu comes on over. Man, that shovel is very powerful. And the Maiden just going to help take this one down. Pyoshik looking for an angle here, but it looks like DRX will play defensively enough. Not going to die for an inner turret right now. But this inhibitor turret is likely to fall. The siege capability of this composition is actually quite high, especially with the 1-4 that they do have available. It's very, very strong. As DRX, they need to force something. Oh, okay, Andal. He's leaving. They're starting a fight, though, as Willer is just going to go in. A little bit of a disconnect, as I don't know even where Rich died, but he very much did. And Andal is now just looking very uncomfortable on the wrong side of the fight. Help me, Ox.
They just blew up Rich. No chance of engaging with the cannon gun. Looks like this game is pretty much over.
Yeah.
Ju and Yukal can try. Yukal still has ult.
Well, he is going to use it now. Presses that button. It is Closer that goes down, but the Sivir is already very dead, and now Yukal is very alone. He'll get taken out. Pyoshik is able to lock that one up as Andal finally gets to the fight, but the Nexus is now bare. There's no one left alive, and DNS will be moving towards match point in this best of 5, and I feel robbed. I thought we were going to get a series. There's nothing. My hands are empty.
Yeah, this has been very one-sided. I mean, there was a little bit more, there's a bit of back and forth during this game, but it just quickly fell out of control. The team fights, the Yoriks have been all in favor of DNS. And Pyoshik, I mean, the form he's in, it's just heads all the way. Widid is going to be beyond smug. The series is not over yet, but two games in, and DRX just haven't really put up too much resistance. Ju also, the thing that feels most frustrating to me is that Ju and Andal have had such a big glow up, and we're just not seeing that today. This is not the form that we've seen DRX in previously. And whether or not they can come back and win the series is one thing, but I just hope we see that form show up today. To end a 3-0 would feel really rough to see them leave playoffs and not show some of the form we've seen from them so far, because frankly, they haven't shown up yet.
Yeah, this team has showed much better League of Legends than what we've seen so far today, so hopefully Joker has some secret stuff to give to them, because we were talking about backs against the wall. Well, this is as far against the wall as they can possibly be. This is DRX, the guy across the stadium from them, Pyoshik. He knows how tenacious his team can be. Let's see whether they can channel some of that as we move towards a shot break. The space is then going to break down game number 2, and we'll have the third one and the match point for DNS.
된다, 이제 해도 돼.
자 이거 공항 볼게.
아, 이팔 한번 볼게.
캐네 잡았어.
오로라 볼게.
오로라 보자.
오로라 떴다. 노플. 이거 미드 할게.
나 미칼 있어. 나 공도 있어서 라인 들어갈 때.
레오나 뒤에 있다.
스피릿. 야 이거 다이브로 가서 끝내. 앞으로. 내가 레오나랑 놀게. 11로 노플이니까 내가 걸어줄게. 기다려봐. 라인 들어가. 레오나 한번 마크했고. 레오나 뒤에서 온다.
레오나 돌아. 그래, 라칸 레오나 돌아.
야 밀면 타자. 이거 오라 났다.
11을 잡았어.
나 죽었고.
오로라 볼게, 오로라 노플.
레오나 노플.
끝나긴 했어.
끝내면 될 때 끝내면 될 때.
레오나 잡자.
레오나 노플이야. 레오나 노플이야.
레오나까지 잡자. 가둬줄게.
잡아봐. 노플이야.
야 월말이야.
나이스. GG.
어떤데?
좋은데?
But Rich gets a better matchup. Hopefully it means that Andal's going to be feeling a little bit more comfortable here. Maybe that's going to be an option that they can go towards. Of course, Andal did manage to get counter pick in the last game, but the game wasn't really about him in the end. As the Bard going to be taken away once again. This is something that the DN Supers have been doing all series long. Yunara is likely to leave as well.
I think as well, second pick has gained a lot of ground in this series because a lot of the picks you would expect to have to ban on second pick have already gone, right? The Rumble, the Varus, in some series they stay as staple permabans for second pick. They're already out the window, and DNS are banning Yunara as first pick, so it just gives a lot of comfort over to DRX. They're going to keep banning away the Nocturne from Pyosik. They are continuing to ban that Gwen away as well.
And what does it mean for first pick priority here? And it's going to be a big one. The Rise, another thing that hasn't necessarily had a look just yet. And I think that's what the DN Supers are looking
I wonder,
for.
what does a Cassiopeia ban mean? You know, if they had a fourth ban, maybe they'd ban Anivia.
But if the Rise now gets banned away, then the Vi gets through. And that could be a lot of power for Pyosik as well. We know that he has enjoyed that champion in the past.
That's the thing, you could ban something else, and you could try and go, you know, Anivia Vi into the Rise, but the problem is, what if you end up leaving them open? They pick Vi, you pick Rise, there you go, Anivia, you end up in a difficult situation.
Well, that is what they're looking for.
Lee Sin ban's a good one, because Lee Sin Rise, super strong combo. The point-and-click CC to set up the Sonic Wave is there, and very threatening. It looks like it is going to be DN Supers committing to that Rise. 100% win rate in playoffs so far.
Okay, that is blind Nah.
I don't massively see the logic behind.
Well, Vi...
Give yourself second pick. You have counter pick. Why the emphasis on locking in the Nah this early on? DN Supers considering their options in this situation.
That seemed like a tilt lock to me from Rich, who hasn't necessarily looked very confident on the cam, as now Pyosik toying with a few different ideas, obviously hovering his famous Kindred that he's named after, but instead going to be locking down the J4.
Yeah, Jarvan, I'm not a massive fan of this early in the draft because you don't really know what you're going up against, but
Jax.
Some of the mobile picks have been taken away, and it is just generally strong. Going to be playing into Talia. So Talia Vi, pretty strong, pretty potent. We've seen a lot of Talia into the Rise. Rise has been doing a lot better than the Talia, if we're being honest. And Jax into Nah, a matchup that the Jax can win out, but not a matchup every player is comfortable taking due to obviously feeling like he is happy to take that one himself. And then DN Supers looking to ban away some of the mobile picks. I think both teams, honestly, are like, what pick would be one of the nice safe picks. Interesting that DRX banned Kalista. Why would you ever want to play Kalista into Vi Talia? That sounds like absolute nightmare fuel.
Yeah, I wouldn't be doing that.
So interesting they opt to take that one away in this situation.
And also, I mean, I guess they banned it because they don't want to play Ashe Seraphine or something like that. Maybe that's maybe their idea of a champion that they want to play right now is more along the lines of a Kai'Sa or something like that. I'm not entirely sure. Instead, they're going to be taking away the Karma next, and there is the Corki to be removed. So now DRX likely going to be taking an 80 carry. We'll just have to see exactly what that is going to be. I'd like to see them just slam Ashe, you know? Just let Geo play Ashe. Just have a lane that is probably going to win. If you do then augment the lane with a Seraphine.
I think the problem is just playing it into the Jarvan is risky.
It's a Nico instead.
The Nico is a denial away from Peter, but the problem is Nico into Jarvan is honestly a bit of an uncomfortable matchup because you can just cage you and then the Rocket Belt doesn't offer anything. I've seen a lot of times playing Nico into Jarvan just isn't a fun time. We'll see what DN Supers end up going here. It is into a Vi, it is into a Nico. Ezreal's gone. Xayah can make some sense.
Xayah Rel, I guess? Maybe?
Might be a rough time in lane.
Elise would be an interesting choice.
Yeah, the Karma ban makes sense with them having the Nico. Elise has a lot of burst potential. Lulu, you can sync the Wild Growth with the Engage, but you are going to get poked out a decent amount. You have the shielding there. Kai'Sa Nico does sync well with the composition, the dive potential.
And this is the handshake that we've seen a whole lot of. The Xayah into Kai'Sa situation dates back to 2017, as you guys will remember.
I think it ends up working out pretty okay for DRX. You know, it's a AD carry who isn't too concerned about the threat of the Jarvan, right? You have ways to get out of that, ways to mitigate it. It's very much a dive-focused composition for DRX. You know, it's pretty straightforward what you want to do. Yes, it's not the easiest task because you are dealing with like a Lulu peel, a Xayah has self-peel, Ryze is a little bulky. But if you get that early momentum, right, you should be in a good spot. You also have a Nico to bridge the lane for the Kai'Sa. My main concern is, obviously DNS have been on an absolute tear this series, but also this Ryze and the power that represents. But I think they have some decent tools. That's how I feel about them coming out of this draft. It's just whether they can execute is a big question.
Yeah, we'll just have to see. And I, for one, just want a little bit more League of Legends today. Feel a little bit cheated that we haven't had very much of it. I was expecting that this was going to be a pretty long one, as man, she has got a lot of tickets to go and see DRX, and let's see whether she can be rewarded here with some extra time at the Chijijik Lol Park. As Lulu Xayah, not a lane that we've seen all that much of since when it was very, very popular in the Ardent Sensor meta. And we'll just have to see whether, once again, Dr. Arm and Peter are going to have a great time here on the Rift. Let's get onto it here. Match point for DNS as we load up into Game 3. All right, here we are. Onto the Rift for the third game of this series, possibly the last. As DRX, if they decide to show up now, maybe, you know, maybe we could get some Silver Scrapes queued up, you know? Maybe that's the angle that we're going to go towards. I was very adamant that it was going to be a long day today, and I feel cheated that it's not. So,
well, you don't know yet.
That's true. I was sorry, preemptively counting chickens is never something that we like to do here in the LCK. I apologize. That's all right.
You are trying to curse it, though. You're doing a pretty good job. You are setting that up.
My friend Chronicler said that curses aren't real.
And we fired him for it, so...
Oh, yeah, true, we did. I forgot about that. All right, well, that was a pretty speedy response, and I feel put in my place. I'll try to stop with the curses. I've gotten so used to it, though. I feel like I do it all the time. That Blooming Burst got a lot of value. Nicely done there for Andil.
Yeah, Peter and Dr. have done a decent job of trading so far in the lane.
Looking all right. Now Peter looking to follow up, as we can see. You're not going to connect there out of Dr. though.
Honestly, it's a lot of Dr. trading with these feathers and just getting some chip damage in.
These recalls are actually working out quite effectively. As obviously in the early stages, the Kai'Sa is not having the most fun time. As Rich with Meganar charging up is likely to be all right. You mentioned it already. I believe it was Keen that was quoted saying that he really likes the Jax into this matchup, but not a lot of people do. And the Gnar can do okay. I think a lot of it depends on how the game sort of shakes out. Right now, Dudu is doing just fine, as we can see. Getting that wave shoved in as 6 wins in a row here for this Ryze.
Yeah, and the thing is, Talia's win rate is really not great in general.
Yeah, pretty.
A lot of the time we've seen Talia traded, you know, we've had the Azir Orianna trades, we've had a lot of Ryze Talia trades. So when you see Ryze's win rate being good, Talia's been on the other end.
Yeah.
Hasn't been so good.
Even if she's into other stuff, it also hasn't looked very good.
Yeah.
As we've seen, like, Talia into Ahri and things like this.
I think this is a sort of composition where she can function pretty okay. You know, everything's pretty short-ranged. There's a decent amount of champions, like the Jax and the Jarvan. The Unraveled Earth is good value into.
Yep.
You also have the Vi for setup, the Nico for setup. But, yeah, not the largest amount of confidence in this pick. I feel there's a lot of picks going around in the meta at the moment that we don't have overwhelming amounts of confidence in.
Yeah, I'm also a little bit worried about this Kai'Sa in the lane right now. It's not necessarily functioning the greatest. Xandil has made his way back to it. Let's find a decent snare onto Peter. It also gets the 3 at passive. Nicely done. Fair bit of poke damage down. And does still have the heal available, as does Peter. A very even game as far as the some of the spells are concerned. And now looking for a little bit as Andil's in a lot of trouble. Does manage to throw down a Blooming Burst there, but Peter very happy to tank one shot of that.
And Anno might just be recalling again. Does help? I assume had refillable running. But decides, nope, I need to go back. Yeah, lane not going too hot. So I was talking about how the Nico can obviously help Kai'Sa get through potentially some trickier lane spots, but not really working out. And now Jiwoo, you're getting dove.
Yeah, he does have barrier. He's going to use it. The closes here as well, and just comes past, picks up first blood, and leaves.
Yeah, I think before Closer got there, the chances of Jiwoo surviving were maybe like, you know, 3 to 5%.
Yep.
Closer turns up straight to 0.
Yeah, I'd say that that's the 100% death chances. Oh,
Yeah.
that feels bad.
You know, actually,
puts
there
his
was
barrier
a-
on cooldown.
The chance of survival was minus 3% with a 3% margin for error.
Aha.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're still going to put that in the cons column. As Closer does get knocked around just a little bit here. And Dudu just giving a good old thumbs up to Rich. Trying to rub it in as best he can. The mental warfare pretty strong here for Dudu right now. Level 6 for Yukal. Got to stick around in the lane. But Weave as well, not exactly going to be employed off cooldown.
Well, Closer getting that early kill feels really good. 2 Dark Seal stacks as well on the rise already. I mean, getting a roam off before you even have ult on the rise. You'll take it.
That's pretty absurd. Did use his Ghost in order to make that happen. DRX are able to come on over and grab themselves this first Cloud Dragon. And so Willa able to help lock that one down as Pioshik now looking towards the top side of the map. Not a whole lot of camps there, but there is a Gnar that's very pushed up. So that might be an option. Decides instead that he's going to scry and gets a control ward in to make sure that he knows exactly what's going on. Going to settle for this crab. And so DNS still with a decent gold advantage after that first blood, but the Dragon going over to DRX is certainly better than what we've seen from them in the prior games. That's a little bit of a demonstration as to how things have been going so far in this series. DRX haven't quite managed to make it work. As now Yukal may have to use the flash as there's Cataclysm. And there is that flash we were talking about. As that feather recall was ridiculous. Gio taking so much damage, has to flash. He's on like, what, 1 health? As Peter flashes on in to pick up the kill. And DNS, it's feeling like a repeat of the last couple of games.
Feeling really good for DNS. You know, Pioshik goes mid, instantly ults as soon as he gets it, trades that cooldown for the flash, big pickup, and then bot lane, Dokdam out trading Jiwoo constantly in this lane, manages to find the feather call, and then Peter, it feels even better because you're trading summoners. You know, Jiwoo's flash goes down, you trade your support flash, you get the kill secured. Just in a great spot already, and that bounce back from DRX just doesn't seem to be coming through.
It's not there yet. And I wouldn't hold your breath, ladies and gentlemen. If that's what you're looking for. As DNS once again just looking in fine form. Rich hopping around just a little bit there as Counter-Strike just try and mitigate. There's the flash in as we got the zoom from Jonas Strong as well. Rich does have that Mega Gnar charging up, and Dudu is not going to party underneath the turret, and so it is going to be DRX making their way out. So flashes traded here in this top lane. But Dudu, I think, won the mental battle.
I think every top laner feels like that playing into a Gnar eventually. Just wants to flash in him and blow him. Oh, the slow, that call from Peter set it up, actually.
Yeah.
And then Dokdam pushes in, and the call there was clearly made. Peter's like, I can get it. I got this.
Flashes on in. We've got another fight that looks very similar. Now the Vi comes forward. Cease and desist, and down goes the Xayah. No option to use that Featherstorm at all. And now Closer is in the back of this pit, has to flash, and doesn't waste any time doing so. We'll get the ping out on that control ward as well. So DRX back on the board.
Good flash there from Willa. Had to make sure the CC was layered, otherwise Dokdam would have gone into the air, and not sure the kill would have been able to come through. But able to just catch him off guard.
Yep, did so before the Wild Growth was available as well, as Peter just hits level 6 immediately afterwards, and Dokdam flashed for this.
Yeah, they were trying to set up play, gone aggressive. And the thing is, they had vision initially on Willa. He did sweep though, so maybe didn't have the exact timing of when he was going to come in. Made it hard to flash it.
Yep.
And Willa able just to get in. Good read from him, finds the angle, able to punish that aggressive play from DNS's bot lane.
Beautifully done. Closer then has to put his flash on cooldown as well, so that might be an avenue of attack here for Willa next time around, as now Pioshik parking himself, looking for a kill onto Rich. who's holding this minion wave away from the turret, but Closer's moving in as well. Oh, that's a very dead Gnar, isn't it? Yep, Closer's going to come on through and just take another freebie.
Closer just every time. He just walks over, picks up a kill. See you later.
Yep.
You're going back to mid lane.
Yep. This game is just feeling like feed the rise here for DNS.
It just doesn't even look difficult. It's not, he's not even using the Realm Warp to like make these plays. You know, the one he did in the bot lane, we didn't get a kill for that. He actually just flashed out.
Yep, just wandered on in. Well, now Yukal is having to deal with this Fed Rise, who doesn't have damage built just yet, but that is going to be coming shortly.
Well, he has mana, and mana translates to damage.
That is true. That is very true. The Rod of Ages not quite done. Probably has money for it, scarily enough. As DRX just trying to pick up the pieces as best they can. Slight gold advantage somehow for Jiu here on this bottom side. So that's good news for DRX, but yeah, looking at how things are going, you'd say that it's not good news for DRX.
Yeah, he got the kill credit earlier, so that helped him out, but plates coming in will put Lockdown back in control. And I feel like I've seen Andal recall like 7 times in this game already. Every time I look bot, he's just recalling or not there.
I'm surprised he's level 6, actually.
Yeah. Is a little bit behind in XP compared to Peter.
Yeah, very, very close to 7 here for the Lulu. Yukal does have his Seraphs now done, but the Rod of Ages immediately comes through for Closer. And he does have that 500 gold advantage. It's not a massive lead, right? It's still only 700. The problem is, every game this series has felt kind of like this at the beginning. However, the Dragons have not been unanimously taken by DRX in the early game at all. And this time might be a difference, as Pyosik is coming on over. Spotted on that ward is now Closer looking to face check. He does see a bunch of rocks coming at him. Gets a control ward down, but that dies immediately. As Peter here to help back up Pyosik. Let's see whether the Jarvan can get in or whether DNS are going to give this one up. Gio moves over. That is the Dragon secured, and that's an Infernal Soul for DRX as well, if they can continue taking these Dragons down.
Yeah, pretty good one. Especially you see Cloud, Hextech, thinking maybe, what if we end up getting unlucky? Chemtech would have felt really bad, or an Ocean, but it's an Infernal Soul.
We thank you for your attention to this matter, Orcs.
Doing my best.
Really
DRX,
do appreciate it.
High rolling there. That's the win con. You know, the Dragon stacking, the aggressive composition they have, especially with a Kai'Sa as well, the long-range poke feels really good with Infernal Soul. But they do need to... I mean, they're not really that far behind yet, but it's just these mistakes in the mid-game.
Yeah.
They've really started to bleed out, and just making sure they don't fall into that trap again.
Oh, Andal is here in position. Dudu does have the counter-strike now, but just gets a bit of movement speed and is now looking for a bit of an angle as Pyosik's going to turn up. There's a Cataclysm onto Rich. Pop Blossom does not a whole lot of anything at all, and the Gnar is just dead, spiked by the flagpole. And Pyosik going to grab yet another one. 1-0-3 now for this guy. And it's looking like a Pyosik palm angle, as this coin is looking rigged here today.
Just feels like the set plays from DNS, so often they'll go for this proactive play and it's like there are 4 members there every time. And it's like DRX like, you know, okay, Andal try and make the gank at the top. Oh, there's 4 members of DNS there every time. I mean, even that play they made on the bot side where Closer was there. Did they need Closer? Probably not, but they brought him in to just make sure it happens. And it's similar here. The whole team is moving, collapsing. You see the Talia's a bit late, Willa's a bit late. It's just not as coordinated for DRX. It's just everyone's on a bit of a different page.
Yeah.
And they end up getting caught off guard.
And Jiu is in the bottom lane, right? This is one of those things where DNS just read them like a book. Let's see whether it's going to continue that way. As gold lead, 1.5. Not a big deal as Peter in the river. I'm not sure about this one. The snare does go wide though, as Jiu does manage to proc the passive, and that is a lot of damage. Not looking for a killer instinct or anything like that though with Wild Growth yet available. Do get the heal cooldown, so I guess there is that. As Rich just continuing to push up here in this lane, as Dudu with Counter-Strike. Not feeling all that killable, as there is a Gnar to throw him against the wall. Wallop comes down as well, and that Counter-Strike did not a whole lot of anything at all. There is the cease and desist. Xander was tanking up that turret for way too long, and he is just going to die now. Dudu it gets sniped by the Void Seeker, but I have a feeling that Willer is not going to make it out, and Doctarm is going to seal his fate. So 2 for 1 in favor of DNS.
Still favorable for DNS, even with the snipe from Jiu, and it makes you think if that Void Seeker had been blocked, hadn't connected, would have been even worse. Now Pyosik won't find
Yeah, not the
Rich.
greatest of blast cone angles.
But the bot tower going to go down, some camps going to get stolen, and it's just going from bad to worse.
Yeah, the respite that we were hoping for DRX to try to finally find is just not quite getting there.
Well, there is some respite.
I mean, they haven't lost the game yet.
Well, I was going to say, you know, if they lose this game, they won't be able to lose anymore after that.
Hey, that's a really good point. Man, your cup is always so half full, Ox.
Just trying to stay positive.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, they tend to play around on Pioshik just to try and disengage. Dudu's super low. You know, they don't see the Void Seeker coming. Maybe if it'd been blocked, would have been really bad for DRX if Dudu didn't even go down. But yeah, ends up not working out. Again, it's DRX trying to make a proactive play. DNS answering, always having the people in reserve to turn up to counteract. When they make the plays, they have enough members, they have the coordination, they make it happen. For DRX, it just feels like it often takes too much time, or someone responds. Or even when it works, it's like, well, they got it, but how long did it take, you know? And there's something being answered. This set plays, I think, have really dictated this series. And it's been Pioshik who's been at the head of most of them.
Yeah, he's just kind of figured it out. He is in tune with the game here today. As Peter going to shield up Doctor, but that Void Seeker did not find. And so, DRX, there is a dragon up in 45 seconds. Pioshik is focusing on the Herald right now, which does have vision on it here. So DRX kind of know they have the ability to go down and set up around that dragon, which is going to be very important for them. Soul Point would really help alleviate a lot of the pressure here that DNS does have. As now Dudu and Rich going to be fighting. Nah comes on down. House is going to connect as Rich decides to go in. Wallop avoided, though, beautifully, and the Grandmaster's Might from Dudu is going to make things so difficult. Cinders and a Flash will get Rich out of there. But I'm feeling like this Jax is working out as far as the counter pick option here for Dudu.
Some just exciting plays, honestly, in that one. Dudu dodging the stun with the leap strike as well. Both of them on the Trifle Spike. Pretty intense one. Rich having to back away, losing the Mega as well at the end of the fight. And again, DRX, they're late though, not able to pick up the kill on the way out. They are looking towards the Dragon now, but DNS are in the vicinity, and I don't think should be letting them get this.
No, I don't think so. Teleport back for the Jax. So that means that Dudu is on the map, and Doctor and Peter are very scary right now. 2-1 and 3 on this Xayah. As now they're going to try and collapse onto Dudu. The wall is going to be set up, and Dudu is going to try and buy as much time as possible as the Realm Warp is delivering the rest of the team in. But they couldn't get close enough, and down goes the Jax. Just bring all your friends. That's the way to deal with it. Is that's a Rift Herald just thrown down. Pioshik immediately mounts, and Shelly is going to try and do what she can. Looks for another knock-up here, but he's just going to take the river exit. As, yeah, Pioshik will get a charge, but may give up this dragon. It was a weird maneuver.
Yeah, trying to use it for the team fight, Herald, but they just don't really find an angle in. Losing the Jax a big hit before the fight, and DRX, the Dragon WinCon, really coming online.
Yeah, so that is Infernal Soul Point. All three of them going their way, and now Closer is so far up. Okay, well, Cease and Desist is going to come down. Talia Vi working out here, but does flash, and Closer has the Ghost now running, and so will be able to get himself out.
Yeah, Closer almost falling for the same trap Dudu just died to, but
surely they don't do it again, you know?
You know, maybe DRX have just found their winning strategy. Whoever shows up bot, just kill them.
That's a good strategy. That'll get you some gold, you know?
And maybe a fourth dragon. The gold lead's not that crazy in this game. As much as DNS have had that lead and do still have that lead, right? You have 2 items on the Kai'Sa, it's a big spike. You have those 3 dragons in pocket. It's a winnable game. It hasn't felt super good. This game hasn't felt like DRX suddenly have
tempo vibes are not in DRX's favor.
Yeah, but the 3 dragons in pocket gives them a win con. It's going to come down to that 4th dragon fight. Make or break for the series, if we're being honest.
Oh no, UCal is doing the 0 damage build.
Oh no.
I heavily dislike this build. Heavily.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Just, it feels so sad. You do at least slow them a little bit when you hit them with a rock.
You have a lot of slows in your kit already though.
I never said it was a good thing. Oh well. Handel going to try and use his decoy in order to block some damage here, but this turret is just gone. Doctor Arm there with a bunch of autos. Will be able to deal with it. Rich being a little bit frustrating now, as after that kill, feels like it's added a bit of gusto to this Nah. who is all of a sudden 30 CS in the lead. My goodness. Kind of ridiculous. 300 gold, now the advantage for Rich as well. He's trying to take matters into his own hands. Pyosik turns up top lane, but the cavalry is arriving. As Andal will be able to get that Phaelite back under their control. As Rich just desperately trying to take this turret down. As Pyosik on vision here, gets his flag down, spots that Andal is still in the vicinity. Rich is relentless, man. He really wants this turret.
Should be able to get it. I mean, DNS are moving to defend, but Doctam in trouble.
Yeah, that Featherstorm timing, fantastic, but now it's on cooldown as the wall comes in. And Doctam, there's the flash forward. Cease and desist comes down, and Chiu should be able to lock this one up, and that is the kill. Pop Blossom used very defensively, but means Pyosik can't get too much done as now Closer is zoned out of the fight as well. Rich just trying to be frustrating. Pyosik gets out, but now he's not able to help with the rest of this battle. It is just Doctam on the floor, but DRX finally finding something that actually works.
And Doctam opting to go back in after he used his ultimate. I was like, oh, he ults, he stays alive, he gets out, and then he's like, you know what? I still have it in me. I'm like, I think you should just leave.
Yeah, the just leave angle would have been a really good one.
So you can tell this ult is just on reflex because he ults in the complete wrong direction. But it's like, cool. You're out, the wall comes in, I'm like, you need to start moving, but he's like, hey, I'm gonna try and position, I wanna save my flash. He gets ulted by Vi.
Yeah. Maybe they thought that he could bait, and so Pyosik could then get the wraparound. They bide their time so that Dudu can teleport in, and then he can, I don't know.
I'm gonna tell you, no, they can't do
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
As was demonstrated. But he did save his flash. I think there's something to be said for that. It will be up for the Dragon fight in a minute 30. I think that was the right call. Willa's flash is down, though, so the Vi not going to have that tool available. Everything really, I think, comes down in this Dragon fight. But the pressure is a bit more on DNS within this game specifically, in that they not only have to win the fight, but also secure that Dragon to deny the soul. Pressure is very heavily on DRX because, you know, they're 2-0 down in the series.
Yeah.
But in this game specifically, they're starting to pull into a bit of a better spot.
Yeah, I mean, that's a gold lead now. 1 minute until the Infernal Soul point can be cashed in on. And that will be so much extra damage. And Yukal definitely needs that, because he's got the no damage build. Maybe he just knew, oh, I'm going to get Infernal Soul. That's fine, you know? This adaptive force will help my 0 damage build do a damage.
There you go, you know? And then
perfect.
with my Rylai's, I can pretend I have Hextech Soul. By
yeah! Gorgeous. You love to see it. It's just a way of counteracting the Cinders. As Rich and Minina, not exactly too psyched, but man, that Boomerang proccing the Hyper, able to answer back that trade quite nicely, as Willa realizing that he's not having a very good time. The Weaver's Wall to get Yukal out. And now, Andal's also surfing over. Looking for that Pop Blossom angle, finds one. Featherstorm now down as well. Cease and desist comes in though, and in goes Chiu. It's a big Nara as well, but Cataclysm is fantastic. Pyosik immediately punished for it though, and Closer goes down. It's a double for Chiu, and this is the comeback that we've been looking for. Peter, oh, the little Lulu that could, fighting against Andal, who misses the snare, and so he just walks out, I guess.
DNS trying for the fight, but DRX instantly respond, find the answer, and Doctam on this side just not able to function, not able to survive. Soul now for DRX and a gold lead.
All right.
And for the first time in the series, it feels like they finally arrived.
Can you do a hands check? What's on your hands? Do you see it?
I see it.
Oh, it's starting to appear. There is game. I'm starting to see it. All right, well, Yukal managing to wall out, so the Realm Warp does nothing at all. And then Andal finds the angle.
The TP coming in as well. You know, they go to Doctam, who uses his ult to dodge the Nika World. The follow-up's there. Rich comes in with Mega. Perfect timing to get into the fight. And the Cataclysm just traps them as well. It doesn't help.
Yeah, and Peter, like, the wild growth timing was actually great. It actually caught Jiu on the approach as they pick themselves up the Infernal Soul, and now they're looking for Baron.
Yeah, Jiu also has Dusk and Dawn. This 3-item spike on the Kai'Sa is insane.
Yeah, gigantic. Well, let's see whether Pyosik can... No, he can't get in there. As Weaver's Wall to get Yukal out, but he gets immediately put into the Rune Prison. Now Willer is going to try and mitigate it. Oh my god, where did Closer go? Pop Blossom now as well, as DRX are looking to add winning to winning. As Dudu, I don't think he's going to be able to get enough done. There is that Dusk and Dawn you were talking about. And Chiu is going ballistic. That is at least one kill, but the Incredible seismic shove is looking real good here. The flash from Yukal to take down the Xayah, and that is the ace for DRX, and finally, they're looking good in the series.
Docdam trying to make the hero play there is shut down by Yukal. We see the Baron get secured, and then Yukal tries to make this wall happen. It's just immediately denied by Closer, but the team just go, okay, well, we'll just kill the Rise immediately. Carry down. Some of the engages from DRX are a bit scuffed. Rich doesn't connect immediately, but the front line gets decimated. Pyoshik down, Judo down. Docdam tries for the hero play, takes down the enemy carry.
Man,
just
so
whiffs
close.
the blade slightly, but here he's still going. Peter Wild goes in with his last breath, but Yukal just launches a boulder at his head and says goodbye, good night.
Yeah, beautifully played, and that means 4-0-6 for Yukal. All right, he's continued down the I don't need damage from my items route as he's completed Azonia's as item number 3. It's not likely that he'll die, and he might be able to hold on to these Dark Seal stacks that he's built up as well. Let's hope it's a Magi. So maybe the Magi's angle is going to get there. You go full defensive, make sure that you stay alive so you can protect
the stacks, yes.
your stacks. There it is. I figured it out. As so is Jiu. His plan is go in and just kill whoever my team engages on, and he's been pressing that R button relentlessly. Now he's got an arm guard as well, so it's going to feel a whole lot better. Flash Cataclysm for Pyoshik here, but where's the follow-up? He does drag his way out as the Pop Blossom is actually baited quite nicely. As Willow with the flash forward, there's the cease and desist, and no Feather Storm for Docdam. No way to press any buttons at all, and now the rest of DRX are bearing down on DNS. Rich is going to die, but he takes Closer with him, and now the two big carries are dead, and they should be able to push in.
And Willa has just consistently found Docdam on this Xayah, not giving him a chance to use the Feather Storm, either waiting for it to be down or just buffering his Q with a flash, so he doesn't even get a chance to press his button. It's been working so well so far. This composition, this engaged dive comp, has been paying dividends for DRX. 6,000 gold lead.
Do you know what? I actually feel kind of frustrated, though. I feel like Blind Nah should never be rewarded. But right now, DRX, they're making it work. As the Pop Blossom mitigation was quite nice here from Pyoshik. But look at Willa. He sees the angle, flashes onto his target, and Jiu right there immediately presses the R button and kills it.
And Yukal's always there as well to follow with the seismic shoves after the knockbacks. Closer does get the trade kill, but, you know, the Blind Nah, he's done his job.
Yeah, the Blind Nah does not see death. Oh dear. I mean, the game isn't over just yet, but it's a 6,000 gold lead. It's Infernal Soul. The Baron did a bunch of work in knocking down that bottom inhibitor turret, and DRX kind of owned the jungle.
Yeah, both of DRX's carries have Zhonya's as well in pocket, which makes them really hard to deal with. It's just a tricky spot to be in.
I would say tricky certainly does fit the bill. As Closer looking for an angle once again, as there is another flag drag and the Cataclysm, but Pyoshik is now in an awkward spot, goes down immediately. They do take out the Nico as the Wild Growth is decent once again, but unfortunately there is no follow-up. And DNS, they realize that what they need is a Hail Mary, and unfortunately they span around on the spot and fell over. And DRX will just wipe them out.
Wall blocks some of the team of DRX, but it doesn't really matter at this point. Jiu and Yukal should just be able to close out the game at this point with long death timers. Wave coming up mid. DRX have found themselves a game in this series.
Yeah, and now all of a sudden, Jonas Strong and Widid's predictions die, but we are gifted with a series, ladies and gentlemen. The beginnings of the DRX reverse sweep start now.
You know what? I love Jonas Strong, but God bless DRX for shutting down Widid. That needed to happen. Needed to happen.
That smug jerk, am I right? Oh my goodness, it was really getting frustrating.
And I'm glad they could bounce back. You know, the composition, straightforward, right?
Yeah.
See target, kill target, but again, into things like a Xayah, not always the easiest to pull off. And I think Willa having a fantastic game, really just making Docdam feel uncomfortable and challenging him. Yukal as well, bouncing back on the clear, but we all know the real hero, the Blind Nah.
Absolutely.
You first take that Nah and you do it with style and confidence.
And also, it looked so much like a tilt lock as well. And he does that and then wins the game. That is exactly what you want to see, and maybe that will give DRX what they need to pull back the tempo vibes in this series. I want to apologize to Udit. He's not a jerk. He was actually quite humbled in his almost victory of his prediction as well. But it's time for us to take a short break. When we get back, ladies and gentlemen, the space is going to break down that game, and then we'll have the potential beginnings of a reverse sweep. We'll see you soon.
짧아.
이번엔 쪼리가 뭐?
텔 있어.
가야지 여기 살짝 볼게.
걸겠다, 걸겠다.
나 그럼 가능한데 이번에.
뭉쳐있지 봐봐.
야 봐줘.
앞으로 끌게. 앞라인.
나 내가 나를.
라이즈 볼게.
얘들아 자야 그거 누구야? 자야 누구? 나 뒤에 다 잡았어.
스코어다.
택시 잡으면 끝나.
안 잡아도 끝나 그냥. 끝났다.
이리로 가자.
That's we can just exchange smugness towards the other side. As let's get into the draft here. Second pick for the DN Supers. And DRX, first pick on the blue side this time around.
Yeah, we've seen so many of the power picks thinned out, I feel. We're still kind of maintaining this DN Supers, Bard, presumably Yunara, going to be the ban here. Pyoshik being targeted heavily.
Yeah.
Again, Lee Sin and Nocturne being taken away, but it's just really clamping down on his pool, and more jungles are being thinned out with it being Fearless, so he will have his pool tested more and more. There's still definitely picks he can lean on, you know, the Hecarim and the Kindred.
Hey, yeah, true. Certainly some pocket picks for Pyoshik, as we know, as Nami also going to be
not
taken
Yunara.
away. Maybe just targeting some sort of Corky first pick angle or something like that to make sure that isn't as scary. But a weird one, to say the least, as the Dusante going to be taken away here. I feel like that kind of hurts Rich as well. I feel like Rich has looked fantastic on the Cassante when he's picked it up. I believe still undefeated on the champion as well.
So interestingly, Gwen left open. It was open in game 1, but that was when Rumble had come through, right?
Yep.
But Gwen left open for the first time. Since then, going to be banned by the DN Supers. Yunara open and available. It has been banned out by the DN Supers for the whole series so far, and DRX is just going to lock it in. And we're talking eggs in 80 carry basket. That is eggs in the Jiwoo basket right there.
Yep, that'll do it.
Also, Renekton stocks through the roof, because Kennen and Gnar, two of the picks you would typically pick into Renekton, are gone.
Yeah, and now the Corky available as well. We've seen this picked into Yunara many times. Peter won't be able to go the Nami route because they banned it themselves. Kind of interesting there.
Yeah, maybe they were worried. They were like, we wanted to potentially go the Corky. We're scared they might, so we banned the Nami. But interesting adaptation. There is no Lulu to pair with the Yunara, so the ideal pairings, I guess, that these 80 carries want to go with, the supports I want to go with, aren't on the cards. Mundo being toyed with. Obviously a pick we've seen, not the most early impact, but can just farm up a storm, be kind of unkillable later. Great at smiting Elder Dragons, we've also established.
As we've found out. Jace going to be the lock-in here as well for Rich. That is his answer to the Renekton. I feel like that can go horribly wrong.
That certainly can. Would you be crazy enough to go something like
lane Jace?
But I'm thinking for jungle for Pyoshik, would you just kill the Jace over and over? You could go Sejuani, you could go Nidalee,
Oh god, yeah, you could.
I'm not.
You
Nidalee
go
feels.
Kindred.
Nidalee feels crazy. I'm not sure, but I mean, who knows really at this point what you'd go. But definitely, if I'm thinking if I have a Renekton and I just go a jungler where you just farm the Jace, that's a viable strategy.
It absolutely is. And also, Rich has been targeted already in this series and is not feeling fantastic. Maybe he's the weak link that they could try to take down. Already, I'm a little bit worried for DRX and what this composition looks like, as the Yone is going to be banned away. We are getting towards the bottom of the barrel as far as mid lane is concerned as well. All of these picks that you can see here are the sort of top of the tier list. Haven't had any weird ones come out just yet.
Yeah,
On the next one,
Galio is open and available.
that feels nice.
Still like a Kali as an option. Syndra are some of the higher prior ones that are on the cards.
Zoe.
Zoe is also one.
It's closer. He's always been a bit of a Zoe fan.
Yep.
Don't know whether this necessarily gives away what's going to be picked here by DRX.
The
Let's see
question is, do you secure a mid now? Are you like, there's something we really want here? And do you save the jungle to last? Because if they do that, then I'm thinking it might be something interesting. You know the jungle matchup already.
Pyoshik counterpick is a thing that we have seen, as that is a doggo. Okay. Pyoshik thinking about the Neferi. Not a lot of time left, so that will be locked in.
Interesting, because we have seen a little bit of Neferi, but you know, we saw some last year. We saw one game this year.
It was picked into Vi, though.
Yeah.
It's like the classic Vi answer.
You know, if it saw that last game,
yeah,
I could have understood it. But it does have that point-and-click ultimate. If you are trying to farm top lane, you know, it can do that. Toying with the idea of the TF, that global pressure.
Blind TF is kind of scary, though. And a Karma going to be the consideration. That's going to help get a little bit of lane control here.
Yeah.
And a Yunara that can actually get to the wave feels pretty good, but does take away from Andal's ability to start fights.
Not a ton of lockdown on DRX, not a ton of CC. It's basically gold card and the tether from Karma that you're kind of relying on. So very much like we have speed, we move around quickly, and then we just, whoever we gold card, we just pummel them into the dirt. But on the side of the DN Supers, you know, you are banking on this Neferi getting the ball rolling. Otherwise, it's a Neferi into a Mundo.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, kind of like a dog trying to break down a brick wall.
Yeah, and that doesn't necessarily work. If you've ever tried to contain a dog, a brick wall would generally keep them in there.
Yeah, generally speaking.
Oftentimes a wooden kennel would be enough. But a brick wall and a brick kennel would certainly be better. So yeah, I'd be a little bit worried about this getting a little bit out of hand. And on the DRX side, you're not seeing a whole lot of engage. You don't need it if you just inherently outrange, right? And Shock Blasts will allow DRX to put on pressure without necessarily needing to be the ones that start off these fights and then kite things back after that. Let's see whether that does actually work out here, because it's an eclectic draft. It's a little bit of a weird one, right? They've got some 1-through-1 potential, but I don't know whether that's how they're supposed to play this one out, with a Mundo there and with the Yunara that's not the most safe trying to farm things.
Yeah, it definitely feels like, you know, burden of execution is pretty high for this side of DRX, but they have a lot of scaling elements in their composition. On the other side, it's kind of just like see champion, kill champion, with, you know, a strong scaling backline, but like you have Renekton and Neferi. So I expect they're going to try and kill Jace 17 times over. I'd hope they get the ball rolling for these two, otherwise they'll fall kind of flat.
Yeah, I think Rich needs to steal that mental completely as we get onto the Rift here for game number 4. All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, onto the Rift for game 4. Seeing whether DNS can finish off the series as one doggo just gets briefcased. Oh no.
Wow.
Just put a little hot dog in his briefcase. Now he's got lunch for later.
There you go. That's good planning.
It is fantastic planning. However, it's not what you want if you are the Neferi. As Pyoshik will at least be able to rekindle the doggos by pressing his buttons, so that'll be okay. Gio and Andal should probably have a fair bit of control in this early game.
We've seen so much Yunara into Corki, and I feel like there's so many times where the Yunara is done pretty well, but especially when you have Karma into Rel, this is going to be a very good matchup for the Yunara to have
I
a
feel
great
like it
time.
snowballs as well, right? Because as soon as Yunara can touch the wave, then the Q is actually scary. Then you can actually get some stuff done. Whereas if you can't get to the wave because you're getting zoned out, then all of a sudden you lose a large portion of your kit.
Yeah, for sure. Also, the slow setup from the Karma means you can easily hit your Slurkle.
There's a lot of Slurkle value because in theory, Andal, when he mantras his Q, it's also a Slurkle, as you saw there.
Well, that was just a regular Q.
Oh yeah, I mean, that is a smaller Slurkle.
Yeah, we have layers of it here.
Yeah. I was actually asked on Twitter what a collective noun of Slurkles would be.
Oh.
And I've decided it's a slurp of Slurkles. What do you think? Do you think that sounds okay?
I don't think any of it sounds okay. I don't think that's something... I don't think anyone should utter that in their entire life, but...
Oh, really?
No, I think...
Do you want me to utter it again? I'm not afraid.
I know you're not.
All right. How many others are there? Not too many. So we're not going to need to deal with too much Slurkle talk. Although I guess Gravity Well is a little bit like that. So we do have a slurp on the Rift at this point.
Man.
We do. Okay. Well, looking for a little bit of an early drive-by.
Oh, Yukal is not having fun in this matchup.
No. Does have a gold card, though, so Willow will be able to close the gap. Doesn't find the briefcase, though. Just throws paper all over the floor. There's a Gravity Well. But Willow not too worried about being CC'd. And Closer doesn't have very much of anything left over, but doesn't want to go too far into the enemy jungle in case there's a doggo.
Yeah, maybe throw a warning sign. You know, that people put outside the houses. Be careful, the dog. Oh. I just love the eyes.
Oh, no. That's very, very cute. We've got a bit of an engage here. It's crashed down onto Jews. Looking a little worse for wear. Does have to flash over the wall. High value, as Peter does put a whole bunch of buttons on cooldown, but DRX lose more.
Yep, a lot of summoners picked up. Peter still has Hex Flash, so you unlock that. Also, I love that they buffed Corki's Valkyrie damage. Like, I think they did turn it back again, but they buffed it like 4 or 5 times in a row, something crazy. It's like ungodly levels. And now, every time there's like an all-in...
Oh. Yeah, you just need to be Valkyrieing.
Yeah, the Corki will just W over them to maximize the damage output.
And it was Gio that did this, right? He's the Black Cleaver Randuin's Corki guy that just Valkyries at you.
Yeah, Doctor's done it too, though. He even did. He had a game where he did it last year as well. You know, innovators.
Love it.
Face tanking on the Corki.
Good old frontline Corki. And there's not a lot of true tanks here for DNS, so maybe they'll need a tank Corki in this game. Having a look on the... Oh, there they are again. Look at them. Just phenomenal. Are they? Is that like pastry wrap instead of a... It's not a hot dog, is it? It's like the pastry wrapped like sausages. We have them here in Korea at a lot of the bakeries.
Yeah.
They're quite delicious. But wow, they're just... You can really see something. There's something in those eyes, you know? I don't quite know what it is. It frightens me.
I see absolutely nothing in those
Really?
eyes.
Maybe that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a void.
Just absolute
and that's what's frightening about it.
emptiness.
Oh, someone said pastry time because it was pastry dogs.
Oh,
Love that.
that's cute.
Yeah. Shout out to Julia. Okay. Yukal might be in a little trouble as Pioshik has turned up Flash to get him out of there as we do miss a dagger. But Yukal now with Flash on cooldown, certainly very gankable.
Yep, good pick up there. And Pioshik going for that before he even has his 6 available. Obviously, the point and click of the ultimate making a big difference. Not seeing any moves towards top lane, though, which is what we kind of expected there to be some forward movement. Now, bot lane having so much prio means this is an easy pickup on the Dragon, and Mundo, a champion who can really do this one with no problem.
Yeah, sort of hoovers through that as now Dudu, slice and dicing, acting all cool. Does have to flash to get the stun here onto Rich, but that closes the gap, and Rich just walks it off. Yep, there's the form change for the extra movement speed. Pioshik, if he can get the snipe, might be able to get something going. Doesn't have the ulti, though, and I don't think he's going to be able to find too much. Rich actually electing to go away from the turret, away from the crocodile, and he's just dead even though he flashed.
Oh, that feels...
I'd say there's a little bit to be talked about there.
That feels so bad. If Pioshik had the ultimate available, you're just 100% dead. You don't even bother flashing, you know it. But I think he just thought maybe he can make it out. But the fact that he got hit by that Q, the bleed was on him. The dogs were chasing him. The fact you burn Flash before Pioshik even had ultimate available, now you're in a terrible spot. Now you can return gank and set up for it. Speaking of terrible spot,
oh dear. Yeah,
Snake
Valkyrie
literally took him out.
Yeah, Valkyrie is going to be able to get Dr. out of there, but it is not looking great. As Closer is just going to arcanely storm the wave.
Crazy seeing Dr. Valkyrieing away from danger, you know?
I know, that is not how you're supposed to play Corki. It's not an escape tool. So it's like misplacing your equalizer on Rumble. As Peter holding the wave, we're just going to go into a replay to avoid watching what could be an unfortunate scenario.
Dude is like, my jungler is coming, I'm flashing for this play, I'm going to do the damage. Rich doesn't flash out to maintain his health. He's like, I'm saving the summoner. And then here, so first Q misses but stops the recall. Second hits, so the bleed is ticking. The auto gets the dogs to hit him as well. And I think the bleed just finished him off.
Yeah, a little bit unfortunate there. As Rich now, I mean, does have grasp, is stacking that one up here against the Renekton over and over again, and still retains parity as far as the CS is concerned. Somehow, Dudu actually gets an assist for that kill as well, which I wasn't expecting. I thought the timer had worn off enough.
Must have been pretty close. It must have been like down in a second.
Yeah. So that's definitely good. Does mean that there is a slight gold advantage now for Dudu as well. And 300 is the lead here for DNS just in general, as we have a Mountain Drake coming up second. Possible double dragon angle for DRX once again.
You know what's crazy? Peter didn't die. Because the last we saw Peter, he was like 20% HP, being tethered by Karma in front of a wave. But he lived, so we don't know what happened. I can only assume something crazy.
And he didn't have to flash or anything. So I guess he just held the wave, went down low, and Andil couldn't kill him. And that makes some sense. He's Karma after all. Slurkle connects, but there's a Valkyrie used defensively once again. Sad, but effective. And Doctom just getting sniped over and over again here by Andil.
They're honestly keeping up decently well in terms of farm, all things considered. This is not a fun lane. This is not a lane that is going well. You are into Yunara Karma, so they can outscale and they are getting plates, so it's not good, but at least the farm is not in a dire spot. That's all I can really say.
Ooh, Golka connects here, as Willer is looking to try and follow up. The wildcard's not really landing. And it is just Pioshik hanging out in the back of the grub pit. I believe was able to take down a couple of them. Yep, one was smote away there by DRX as well. So not able to get all three. Still feeling very, very good about how this one has gone. As Rich is utilizing the range advantage quite well. Outside of that, I think Dudu is kind of okay with how things are going. Maybe less okay now as Willer is moving up. But Pioshik is here, a 2v2. A Rich looking worse for wear. Cannot be in melee range, but that is Dominus now on cooldown for Dudu.
Are they going to die?
Well, they're looking at a possible avenue to do so, as we do have multiple people rotating over. My god, that phosphorus bomb did so much work. Andil has to flash, and Jiu, I don't think he's going to be able to get that one, as he's down to sub 100 health. The barrier, beautifully done, walks out of the way of the phosphorus bomb, as there it is, Jiu able to get that last hit. And actually, it wasn't him. It was the Karma that secures the kill. And so therefore, Andil dies for it, as now Willer is trying to deal with Peter. It looked like Rich survived on that top side and teleported back.
Ends up very scrappy in the bot side play. Even though Doctam getting the kill, Andil getting it in return doesn't feel too great. A huge CS lead is opened up for Jiwoo on the fact that Doctam's been left alone. He's picked up more plates.
Yeah, this is the, like they did manage to kill them in the bottom lane, right? So
yeah,
it does eliminate this entire wave.
Yeah, it doesn't feel too good. The barrier for Doctam does absorb max damage, so couldn't really ask for better than that. Jiwoo does bait him there, bait his flash out.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a weird scenario, as we saw there. I believe Andil sort of queued a minion point blank, but then got the last auto to lock down that kill. So they got what they wanted, made sure that the Corki couldn't farm the wave, and that's why you see a huge CS advantage built up here for Jiu. And Drake has now spawned, and there is a Mundo right here. Like, DRX, they know what they want to do. They want to get dragons, and they want to get them quick.
That they do.
With all this bottom lane control, it's certainly something that they can make happen. As Yukal wandering down, but is taking a little bit of damage as he does so. Willer has his ultimate, and so even though he's at half health, he's probably still fine.
Now the top laner with TP, so it's just a 4v4 for this objective.
Yep. Rich is going back to base, or is at least considering it for the moment. As Pioshik going to try and make this for the 50-50 as G throws a Slurkle in. There's the Destiny, as that is going to be Double Dragon secured by DRX. And down will go Closer without too much of anything happening. As Pioshik gets himself out of the way, Magnetstorm comes through, pulls them in, and now Pioshik's popping off. Willa goes down, Doctom gets a double, and Yukal running for the hills.
Andal takes so much damage, ends up setting up for Pioshik to get a reset in that situation. And then Peter gets a huge engage, and look at the summoners on the side of DRX. Jiwoo, flash not used. Willa, flash not used. Felt like just weren't ready for the engage to come in, and yeah, Dragon picked up his big, but a bunch of kills over the DNS in this situation.
Yeah, Peter finding so much value with that Magnetstorm as well. As we check this out one more time.
The flank was really nice on a Closer, taking that target out in the situation, but they could have just backed off here. They looked for more. Andal's low, instantly dies. That means Pioshik gets this shield on the reset ult, and Peter's engage is great. No summoners used from either the AD carry or the jungle. They just get exploded there.
Bulldog approved.
Yeah.
By the looks of things, as Closer is going to continue pushing things out.
Bulldog.
The Arcane Storm also managed to get a lot of value as well.
Bulldog approving of the dog gameplay.
That's true, and of the Corki gameplay, because he is, of course, a Corki aficionado.
There you go. There's layers to it.
Yep, Portal Combat. As Peter gets a bit of a shield, I believe, from a barrier that he stopped. No, he doesn't actually have Unsealed Spellbook, so that was just his passive, so never mind. It's you. Looking for an angle towards Doctor.
I feel he's like a greyhound.
Yeah, greyhoundy vibes.
Yeah. Well, in this game, a hot dog.
The eyes definitely look very Chihuahua in this skin.
In this skin. Oh yeah.
I mean, I feel like Doctom should have definitely played the Corgi skin this time around. Isn't that a missed opportunity? That's a missed opportunity. There's a lot of quadrupeds in this game.
That would have been good, actually. Also, just the animation, needed a little dance.
Yeah, it's very funny that
It's
Victor
great.
is like, he requires a staff, you know, like he's basically got 1.5 legs, whereas the rest of them have all got 4. Especially, you know, that's assuming Peter's wearing the pants. That's all right. It's a weird sentence. Never mind, we're fighting over a red buff here, as the briefcases are really starting to hurt. Willa moving forward, Closer getting flanked, and there is the gold card. Flash over from Willa to try and lock down Pioshik. Meanwhile, there's a fight on the other side. Jiu flashes over the wall to take down the Rel, and now Doctom is in a lot of trouble. Pioshik goes untargetable, but there's the dash, and the Ruin comes on through to take down the Corki. Pioshik has to get out of there, and another gold card comes on around. But that gravity well, a lot of value. Can Willa go where he pleases? That's the question. And as Mondo, generally yes, but that's a death rate. That's a little bit scary. Unable to get the fadeaway blue buff. Pioshik does at least get that, but DRX in good standing once again.
Massive comeback play, and Jiwoo gets so much gold off the back of that. Just makes me question, was that red buff going to offer something extra? You know, was it going to give
You
them...
don't know what that particular red buff was offering, okay?
Yeah, it seems like there was something extra on offer there, because DNS heavily overcommit to this. Pioshik's low, they're eating so many cleavers, and there's definitely a point where I'm like, it is just a red buff, right? And then Peter's super low, Jiwoo flashes over to chase, he's still getting backed up by Andal. Oh, what is going on?
Peter is dead. Or
Well, yeah, I can see
I
that.
believe he may have been hit by a Slurkle.
Mayhaps.
Yes. As Pioshik not exactly finding the daggers here. As DNS really... Okay, that's just Yukal flashing in, looking for Doctom. Pioshik trying to get rid of him, but Willa is just going to walk after them. And so that was a weird flash from Yukal.
Things have gotten a little weird in this game in general.
Yeah, I would say so. Ooh. The stun Turkle. Just working out very well there.
A lot of fighting, a lot of scrapping, and honestly, I think DRX are okay with this. They have 2 dragons in pocket.
Yep.
Everyone has been, apart from Doctor. Doctor is just holding his flash forever. Okay, how did Peter die? Oh, I see it now.
All right, yeah, you'll die if you do that. Yeah. Okay.
Oh my God.
I love you, Peter. Never change. That was beautiful.
You know,
I'm not going to let him go back, guys. I
You know-
will not let him do it.
he's not in the league anymore, but some days I still see his spirit on the rift.
Oh, I see it too. I see it too. Oh, man. The spirit of Beryl will never leave us. I assure you. Oh, man. His team isn't even on the rift. I guess DRX is, so it's fine. Ah, beautiful. Okay. I got my dose of barrel play here today. And I don't think anything can really improve from this point on, outside of 5 games. And DRX right now are moving us in that direction, although the gold would not tell you that. It is control of the Drakes that they have certainly had. Dudu might be able to help this, though. He's the one with the teleport advantage. That's why Rich just has to run down here, and DRX are being apprehensive on the play. Geo just going to push out this wave, and it looks like they're just going to give this dragon up. As DRX still sticking around, but it is going to be Pyosik locking this one down. That is just going to be the turret taken. That's first turret blood over to the Yunara, which is a little scary. Doggo's blocking a lot of stuff this game.
Yeah.
Nicely done, little pastry sausages.
Blocking those cleavers is a lot of value, to be honest.
Yeah.
Ultimately, though, I think getting the Dragon for DNS huge, denying the stacking from DRX, but still a bit concerned. You're playing into Yunara, Karma, doesn't feel good. Yunara, Karma, Mundo, just in general. The game extending isn't a great feeling.
There's a flash from Peter, this time looking to try and take down Yukal, as he is able to get that gold card out. Slice dice from Dudu, gets into the Dominus, and that should be a dead Yukal. However, he does get himself out, as Pyosik is the one that has to come in and save the day. Doctom finally shows up, asks everyone what the heck's going on, and breaks down the turret.
They really just threw everything at him there.
They really wanted to kill
committed the play. Yeah, they did get him. Took him down, got the tower as well. But in the meantime, DRX will just take a tower and trade on the top side of the map. So it doesn't feel like a huge advantage gained for a lot committed there. But DNS definitely being proactive.
Yeah.
Things happen. And that being said, you should be able to get that tower the next wave, but there are people moving back in return. Peter, you know, he learned from last time. This is the exact same position. This time he has real flash though, not hex flash, and also he jumps in when he's outside of the tower range.
Oh, let's have a look at the same play again, as this time it's on to Andel. He takes a lot of damage, but Willa, he's so healthy, and there's the flash hammer from Rich to try and take down Peter. The bottom lane is now dead, and Gate into the back line. Yukal trying to get even more, as Gio utilizing the ultimate so beautifully to make sure that there is no victor left on this map either. And DRX, they really, really like Silver Scrapes. Like, this organization, they love that song, and they're looking for even more.
They just charged them down. You know, they have the speed ups from the Karma. The Mundo is too tanky to cut through quickly. It looks like Pyosik, he's strong, he's fed, but he's kind of just waiting for an opportunity to go in. It just never comes up. Peter sets up on Andel, but you don't really have the backup right now. Jiwoo jumps in, instantly starts shredding. Pyosik gets there, he's putting his bleeds down, but he just can't really do enough damage quickly. And by the time Closer and Dudu are there, it's too late, way too late. And Jiwoo is fully online at this point.
My goodness. That was absurd damage as Joker very, very happy. Oh, I told you this song loves Silver Scrapes. Oh, they're singing it already. This is what they wanted. They're like, throw away the first couple of games. We play better in game 5.
That's the strategy.
Yep, make them tired. You know, it's like those tennis players that were really good at the serve, but they get really tired later on.
Yeah.
I remember a long time ago, Mark Philippoussis was definitely like that. Talking about Australian tennis players on a League of Legends broadcast that's global, it's probably not going to make a lot of people understand. However, it worked in my brain as a reference. So there we go.
That's the main thing. As long as it works for you.
I think Wadid may have understood as well. You know, like you got a really strong service game, you kind of want to end it early.
He might have followed that, but I feel like Wadid is more into the new age tennis players.
Yeah, that's true. He did recently watch the Australian Open, though, so a bit of Australian Open history is probably for the best. As Closer not being here would also be for the best, as he's booped back towards Yukal and eliminated.
He definitely isn't there anymore.
No. And DRX are now going to start pushing here in this mid lane. Should be able to do so pretty comfortably, but the rest of DNS are able to get on over here.
Oh, Closer's going to actualize a second. We expected to see some more of this.
It's a bit cheaper on this patch, right?
Yeah, so expect to see more of this from the Aegis. Unfortunately, won't help.
All right, Gio is just going to walk up to Peter and try and hit him. He just magnets away. They take down Yukal, as now Andel's also dead. But now Rich brings that hammer down, and even though there's the Dominus, Dudu has to flash out of the way, as Willow with the flash briefcase to snipe the Renekton and get another kill for Gio, who finds the Slurkle, gets the Valkyrie, and Doctom is going to have to blast cone his way out. Gio, I don't think, he's going to flash for it. Never you mind. I thought, no, he'll hold on to that because he might want it in the next fight. No! We are flashing for the kills.
And actually, it was quite a late death, so if he can get back in time, you know, Dokdam, he's going to have to rush straight to Dragon to be there. We'll see this replay. So the engage pretty big from DNS. We see Yukal just flies into an uncomfortable position, we'll call that. Immediately gets deleted, but they just don't have the follow-up for the rest of the fight. Rich and Willow are just playing bodyguard for Jiwoo at this point. They kind of run out of gas in the tank. The fact that they don't have the Victor there means they can't really do much to threaten Jiwoo, and he just starts charging people down.
Oh, and the cleaver from downtown was enough to do it. Dokdam not able to get himself out of the pit. They had the control ward over.
And now Dokdam's just respawned. Oh, very late to the Dragon. It's only third for DRX, but it's still a heavy blow if they can secure it.
And Willa is just packing that lunchbox over and over again. Rich, possibly in a difficult position here off to the side, as DNS just going to brute force, walk their way into this river and look to try and take down this Dragon. They know that they need to deny this Soul Point as DRX in position. That's a great shock blast onto Dokdam, but not doing a massive amount of damage right now as Willa tries to get the smite, doesn't find it, but now the damage just massive out of DRX as they pull in Peter. The Arcane Storm doing a little bit of work here, but DRX still want more as Jiwoo has to dash his way out of there. The ulti not exactly getting massive value, and a 1-for-1 is the result.
And the Dragon picked up for DNS, so I think they're more than happy with that. Ultimately, Jiwoo, his flash being down makes it a bit harder for him to teamfight. The Mundo gets bursted through, and it's just hard for him to chase after the fact. You know, good smite there from Yoshik. He's still pretty strong on this Neferi and being solid with his smite so far this series. The game, it feels like this Yunara is just too big of a threat for them to really handle consistently, but they are keeping themselves in it.
Yeah, I mean, if they kill Jiwoo, like, if Jiwoo mispositions, which he has done in this series so far, then they still stand a chance.
I also think, as much as getting Dokdam down, so he was late to this fight, you know, was an aspect, DNS still got on top of the objective, right?
Yeah.
So him flashing for that kill, being flashless for that, is perhaps not the right decision.
Oh, yeah, we are destinying our way forward.
Flash Knight out for closer.
Yeah, actually turning it onto Dudu here is Yukal actually doing a fair bit of damage. Rich comes on forward and lays down the hammer. Now they're looking for even more. Jiwoo just loves pressing R, and he does so, but Pyoshik gets himself over that wall and will be able to get out of there alive. However, now without Dudu, it's going to be very hard for DNS to teamfight around this Baron, which is where DRX kind of looking. Gold lead isn't gigantic, and it's double dragon to double dragon. 2 Infernals here for DNS. Means their Soul Point opportunity is very frightening with the amount of adaptive force they'll be able to stack up for themselves. All right, there is still game here this time around. It was looking like DRX was starting to run away with it. But in this series, I mean, the counting of chickens is illegal, 100% illegal. I don't even know where the tempo vibes are now. I can't even feel it.
It feels very tense. This one feels very tense. It definitely feels like DRX has the edge just with Jiwoo being so strong. Yukal having these gold cards. Just every time he lands on it feels like someone's dying, but it doesn't feel clear-cut. DNS have this big engage potential. If Jiwoo missteps and dies, it's just game over. So far, he's been solid, but all it takes is one bad fight, and it's just series over. DRX out the competition. So yes, they're in a strong spot right now. Yes, odds are towards them in this game, but it's still tense, and they don't get a second chance. DNS still have another game if they lose this one.
Cool. Peter looking for the angle as he flashes into the crash down. Actually, no, doesn't flash. The flash with Candle going out.
Jiwoo.
Yeah, and if they manage to get that, and Jiwoo is out of the fight, then they just win, right? That is so much money removed. Like, the entire gold lead is represented in Jiwoo, right?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, in terms of damage as well, like, a TF isn't putting out crazy damage. The Jace as well, they nerfed his Shock Blast, and he is a lot about that poke. Like, yes, he can do damage, but the Jace can't really go in easily into a lot of these threats on DNS. So much is on Jiwoo. Not just the gold, but just the DPS in fights. Handel is walking up again after just losing his flash. A little bit dangerous.
Peter could have maybe just done the same thing again.
I think the rest of the team wasn't quite ready this time around, but yeah, it's a little scary.
Rich just plays a little bit of tennis himself with Dudu here as Willa moves over, delivers him a briefcase.
Okay, that was some DPS.
Yeah, that wasn't bad. Maybe we spoke too soon, as he does now have his last Whisper completed. Yoshik takes a briefcase as well, but the doggos eat that one. Willer actually commanding control over the enemy jungle. And DRX going for the suffocation play right now. Twisted Fate in that mid lane will be able to put on pressure. At least Victor is pretty good at clearing out waves. But DRX working on this 4-1, and so far it's looking all right with the amount of jungle that they get to remove as well.
Yeah, but rapid fire for UCAL, very scary to deal with. We do see the Serpent Spine coming out for Dokdam, so some shield shred into the Karma specifically.
And thankfully for DNS, Gio has gone like the worst 2 parts of the Infinity Edge, and does now have to wait quite a long time to complete that.
It does just mean, though, especially with this build from Dokdam, trading autos with Gio is so hard. And once he gets to IE, it's just going to feel terrible. If he autos you and you auto him, when you don't have any crit going, it's going to be really hard to ever be up close to him. So
that's a lot of money.
A little bit scary. 10 seconds on that dragon. Feels like time has flown since the last one, and it's DRX have complete control in the area, not even letting DNS really get close to set up any vision. Now they're trying to push up mid and get a look in.
Well, now UCAL throws out a gold card and then walks very far away. Rapid fire cannon certainly helping him here, but that bleed doing some work onto the Twisted Fate as Gio just going to start up this dragon, teleport in from Dudu. DNS not wanting to give this one up as gold card to try and catch him. He slices forward. Not sure about that one because he doesn't have access to the dice, but now they're looking for it as Gio is surrounded. They're going to be able to take him down, and now the DPS is just missing. Willer is going to be the next one to be targeted. Pyoshik takes him out, and somehow it worked. DNS will be able to pick up Soul Point here. Triple Infernal, and the tempo vibes go straight back to them.
Jungle down as well. They might just be able to go Baron immediately after this. See the recall from close. I think he's going to TP for mana as well.
Man, that looked insane, though. The fact that, like, Dudu was caught mid-slice and then still just gets the Flash Ruthless Predator, and down goes Gio.
Yeah, he just went crazy there. They should have damage to get this down before anyone from DRX can really move in. They're going to look for some poke, though. We'll see if they can force him off. A Shock Blast hits only Peter.
Yeah, and Peter does take a fair bit of damage there as Gold Card comes through onto Closer, but it's not really doing damage. As Andil taking the Crocodile for a walk, that's always dangerous, as Peter's just dead, but he's just trying to buy some space. That is Pyoshik taking down the Baron, and Baron for one, you'll take that.
Yep, I like the setup as well. You saw how Closer was moving up towards the exit. He was the only one who couldn't get over the wall easily. Everyone else moved to the back of the pit. They could escape with their mobility. So they just had an exit plan. They were like, Peter, you're going to die. We're going to sacrifice you. This was crazy, though. Dudu, the thing is, he dashes forward because he's like, stun card's going to be down. I'm going. Dashes in, gets the McHale's. Peter immediately follows. And Dokdam just W's in like, we know what the plan is. You know, we need the Valkyrie damage. They kill him, and then, as we said, the damage is gone. Even though the health bars get quite low from the initial salvo, the damage is just not there to follow up, and they can just push forward and not really be contested. And now that gold lead is really thinned out. They got 3 dragons. They have the Baron in hand. Gio is still a major threat, but you know, if they do that, that's the answer.
Yeah, and Closer has now got a death cap. I mean, this guy actually does damage. UCAL, not so much. So it's all about you.
Yeah.
And we just saw that sometimes it is hard for him to stay alive. As UCAL was trying to go back home, and now he's just going to have to gate away.
Okay.
Finally, the Infinity Edge is complete.
Yeah, quick response from UCAL there, just to get out of dodge. Obviously no CC on the Neferi to stop you from doing that. But yeah, Gio got the Infinity Edge, gets him through that bit of a power trough he was in. Dokdam? Oh my god. They are collapsing on them.
Let's see whether this actually works for DRX as UCAL. He's got a gold card and a dream. He manages to lock down Closer's Gio. Massive damage. As now that Arc of Ruin just slow down Peter. Arcane Storm in the choke point is dangerous, and they jump on top of Rich. But Willer's right there. Dokdam, I don't know about that one, buddy, but he trades his life for the chase. Maybe that works. But Gio's still alive, and Closer, he is not. He eats a Slurkle, and he dies for a double kill for Gio. And Dudu, he doesn't want any of this silliness. He's in the top lane.
Okay, Dokdam needs to chill a little bit with these very, very aggressive Valkyries. He's not playing Bruiser Corki, and even if he was, I don't think that's a play. I don't think that's the play. You know what's the thing as well? I was about to say something nice about Dokdam. We'll get through this replay first. Look at this damage from Gio. Nearly just one-shots Closer. They end up immediately on the back foot. They don't have their Renekton here. It's a 5v4. And Doctom just
Absolute
in.
insanity.
Yes.
I mean, I appreciate the vibe.
The gusto.
Yeah.
And the nice thing I was going to say is we've talked about struggles that Doctom has had with his addiction to collect a 4th item.
Yeah.
And he's beaten it. He has gone a Last Whisper.
Last Whipter?
Whisper?
I love the last Whipter last item. Well, it's not even the last item. It's Doctom!
So he's not going to collect the 4th item. He's going Last Whisper. He's actually going to have some real pen, which is good when you're against this Mundo. But
Gio just traded ult for Valkyrie.
I'm not sure it really matters too much what item he's going when he's Valkyrieing in like that. Maybe a GA would be a good buy.
Very true. There's nothing to fight for, so just ulting and dashing forward there didn't actually really matter
Dragon
that much.
minute 10, and it is sold for DNS. It would be a big sold. They have a lot of burst. LDR finish for Doctom, big pickup. QSS now for G1, he has both sums. So that last play they made when they CC'd him, he got the kills, he got CC'd again. Might be tricky to pull off. It still needs to be deal with G1. He's doing insane damage right now.
Oh, yeah. With Cyrilda's done here, Rich is also starting to do more. He's also got his Serpent's Fang done, so he can cut through some of these shields.
He does do a lot of burst, and over the course of the fight, he will put out a lot, but it's just like, it feels like anyone near Jiwoo melts, so it's definitely kill him.
And they have no tank, right? It's bruises at best.
Yeah, it is. It's just bruises. And a
Rel.
Yeah.
A Metal Pants Lady. As Pyoshik now is in a weird spot, but it is Neferi, so fair bit of mobility.
He's just getting some poke downs.
Just coning around. Never used that as a verb. It's a weird one. All right. Dudu on a flank angle as well. Oh my goodness, is he going to do it again? That is the question. Let's see how safe Jiu can be as he looks to try and turn it. Magnustorm doesn't connect onto the Inara, but Dudu flashes for it. He just doesn't have enough. The rest of the team are not there as they take down Rich, but he's not the priority target. If Jiu flashes into them, then it might work out, but he does get himself out of there. Doctom doesn't find the fast bomb, and Willer is just walking at him. Flashes over the top. Doctom finally finds it, though, as now Andal is fighting.
Pyoshik gets him!
Pyoshik finds the reset, goes into the GA, and Yukao, the last man standing against all of these tiny health bars. Can he get enough? That is the question. As the Cinder on the ground, he wants to pick up Pyoshik, but he can go untargetable, so he eats it. The sidestep's not enough, and down he will go. That's an ace, and that is a Quadra Infernal Soul.
Pyoshik is massive in the fight. It looks like maybe they've overstepped because they don't end up going for G, where they see an angle onto Rich. They go for the Jace first, but they don't even immediately get him. All they engage committed onto him. He survives for quite a while. Pyoshik does take him down, and then they end up looking for Jiwoo. Pyoshik gets a bit of damage, he forces his flash. They end up switching targets over here. It looks like maybe DRX has managed to stabilize, and Jiwoo starts to push forward again. Put this W to block the stun card, and now he knows it's down, pushes in, and just stat checks. And remember, this is the point of the fight where, you know, the Inara doesn't have the ult available anymore. Not as strong, doesn't have the stacked up Q. And once again, chases in the Neferi into TF specifically, just having such a bad time. The only CC that this composition have is that stun card, other than like the Tether or like the Jace E. They're relying on the stun card, it just does nothing to this Neferi.
And with Infernal now, they just have so much damage. Another fight is broken out here as now Rich fighting Peter on the offside as Willa has to throw down the ulti. That's going to help him out, though, as his health bar is massive. And now the rest of DRX are just going to turn onto Peter, and he's dead. Now DNS down their Metal Horse Pants Lady.
Yeah, getting a little messy here. A little split up in that fight.
Are we still singing Silver Scrapes, DRX? That's the question, as Pyoshik, he can do that all day. That's all right. DRX wanting to get themselves a Baron, and I'm a little bit worried about their prospects. As Willa now with ulti down is not quite as durable as now Yukao looking for a gold card onto another target, but it runs out, and so Doctom dives on top of him. He has to flash into the back of the Baron pit and then just dies, and so that is now the TF down. Now Pyoshik goes in, goes on target. He's got so much value out of that ability, and he manages to get out. Now Dudu gets into the mix, but he goes down immediately. Kited out, but Rich is going to be cleaning up. Doctom with the cleanup as now Andal. Gio taking matters into his own hands, but Doctom just barely survives, and it's a double for Closer. Now Pyoshik turns back up. How are they getting away with this?
The crazy play from DNS
is 9-0-10.
Look how low the health bars are. Jiwoo trying to find the fight, but he can't pull it off, and DNS clean up all of DRX.
Oh man, and at 36 minutes, Infernal Soul in hand, there is 18 seconds on this Twisted Fate. I think DNS have done it. I think this is the 3-1, and DRX, I mean, they were singing Silver Scrapes. And now it all falls apart. The Nexus, the last one in their LCK Cup run, will be going down, and Peter will stand in the way to stop UCal from watching. And there it is, DNS will progress to take on DK in the next matchup in the lower bracket. And Purshik, look at that. Just walking off stage, no fancy celebrations required, just wants to get to the fist bumps and pick up his POM.
And you know what? We have seen many a time caster curses, but this is the first time we've seen a coach curse. Some early singing of the Silver Scrapes coming in, and DNS said, we ain't going to Game 5, we're getting it done here. And Purshik in particular had a phenomenal series, but on the Neferi, Neferi feels like that sort of pick, similar to the Kiana, where it's rampant in solo queue. We do see it work. Well, the Kiana we haven't seen work at all, but Neferi has had some games it's worked, but it always feels like, you know, even if it gets ahead, it's hard to execute in the late game team fights. You see a Fed Yunara on the enemy team, you're betting on the Fed Yunara every single time, and yet Purshik pulled it off, made you uncomfortable, took him down in those late game fights. What a performance. And think about, this is a player who was part of that DM Freaks roster last year, where they just did not win games.
Nope.
And now, you know, winning this match, getting to go further in the bracket, in playoffs. It's so early in the year and already having so much more success than they did last year.
Yep. Doctor, I'm not really into the celebration here, as Peter. 3-2? I think it was a 3-1. That's all right. Felt like a 3-2 maybe for Peter here, as they had a little bit of a rough one in some of the engagements, but ultimately it's outcome-focused assessment that we really need to head towards. And DNS, 3-1 victory, pretty clean. He said now there's 2 left before they're going to Hong Kong. That's what he meant. He cut down one of the teams that's in front of them. I get it. I understand that. Well, yep, that is what they're going to have to do next, is take down DK. That is going to be a tough one. Let's have a look at some of the highlights here, as at the beginning, it was all DRX this whole time.
I mean, this fight was one where, this was one where we really saw the angle onto Jiwoo. Purshik started to get some goal behind him. Some oversteps though. This one in particular, the red buff, that seemingly tempted them, whispering in their ears, and Jiwoo's starting to get monster fed. And honestly, I think after this one, I was starting to feel a Game 5 and a few more like this, where Jiwoo's just getting more and more fed, but here, kind of show that we know what the plan is. We're gonna kill the enemy AD carry. It won't be pretty, but we'll make it work. And a lot of these fights, Purshik was just getting insane value because there was just no one who could shut him down. The gold card couldn't really respond to the fact that you can go untargetable so frequently. And he was just playing around his cooldown so well. He obviously had to opt out, you know, they had a bit of a whoopsie. But this fight in particular, the only peel they had was that gold card, and here they're backing off. It looks DRX favored. Gold card from UCal thrown. Immediately, he's like, okay, you have nothing left. I don't care if you have a shield bow. I have enough stats to go in.
이거 피흡 좀 하고.
Just beautifully played. As this, this was just like UCal. He blast coned because he thought he'd be able to get a gold card, but used the gold card in order to pop the blast cone, and so
also
died.
Dogdam, he's been Valkyrie in all day, all game. I mean,
actually, that doesn't work, right? So it did time out. I think you don't use the gold card to hit a blast cone. I'm pretty sure that's how it worked. It's not how it looked like it worked.
I think, and then Dogdam's immediately Valkyrie because of course he's going to. And then Jiwoo,
the barrier value, absolutely obscene. And Purshik, remember, left this fight at about 6 health, and then just comes back in at 0. My goodness, what an incredible performance out of this Neferi. 38.9 thousand damage. Docdam doing almost 50k this game. In fact, the damage number's just kind of ridiculous, but look at the gold. Like, DRX had it in the bag. and then Pureshik took it out.
They had 2 Elite Dragons as well, and they got 4 Infernal Dragon. Like, think about that final fight, the extra Infernal Dragon and Infernal Soul damage.
Yeah.
That comes, like, you think how close it was, take away all that adaptive force and the extra damage from the Infernal Soul, and yeah.
And Pureshik, the most obvious of POMs that we've ever seen, only died twice in the entire series.
Well,
that is
he died 3 times. He died 3 times in the Java game.
Oh, right.
So he died
in
5
all
times.
the wins.
In all the wins, yeah.
Twice in the wins. And I guess maybe I can get away with that.
And only 3 times in the loss. Like, it was, honestly, some great scores and just generally some clean gameplay all day, you know. And Pureshik is a player who sometimes, you know, is a bit inconsistent. Today, he was just locked in. And if he remains in this form, that run is looking promising.
I was going to say, maybe DK going to be a little bit worried. And that series, honestly, is looking very, very fun. If DNS continue with this form, because I kind of thought this series was going to be a mess, and maybe that doesn't give us a lot of hope. But now we get to have a chat with Peter. That's absolutely fantastic as well. Get to pick up some of those vibes, and we get to see whether DNS can carry this forward to take on DK and give us a good series there.
A Peter interview? Oh, we're blessed.
It is a good day today. Even though we didn't get maximum games, we got a coach curse and then a Peter interview. Oh, that's incredible. We get to have a chat with Pureshik now as well, which is getting set up on the LoL Park stage as well. So, man, DNS looking fantastic here, picking up the 3-1 victory. A little bit disappointed in DRX, but the fact that the last 2 games in this series, they did manage to finally step up, meant that we did at least get to say goodbye to them on a decent footing.
100% agree, because at least, you know, they showed some fight and came back into it a decent amount.
Exactly right. But now it is time to have a chat with Pureshik, so let's throw it over to Dear for the translation.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Dear for the POM interview translation. We have Pureshik on the side of DN Supers. If you were to lose, it would have been an elimination, and you were the survivor and the winner, and also the first POM today for you. So how do you feel? You know, I haven't been able to get POM, but getting one after a long time makes me pretty happy. So how good would you say your performance was in the series? I don't think I would say that I was incredibly well, but I think I did my job. A humble answer indeed. Until today, DN Supers had some time to prepare, so what was the key point you guys emphasized against DRX? I think DRX kind of does a good job playing as a unit and doing a good job during team fights, so I think we just wanted to make sure that we always are also in sync when it's our tempo. So it looks like you guys had a lot of time invested into practice. Yeah, honestly, during the holiday, we didn't even get a single day of break, and I think that actually really paid off. From game 1, that win with an overwhelming lead helped you guys assert your dominance. There was a lot of OP picks on the table during this game, so what was the main discussion going into game 1? I don't really remember what I did. You played Pantheon, so Pantheon, I think with what we had in the comp and with the consideration of what was available on the table, I think we just tried to come up with the best possible comp, I guess, with the Pantheon pick. And I don't think we were really too concerned about feedback after game 3. I think we just tried to focus on creating a better draft. So what did you focus on with you guys having to face that Fed Yunara on game 4? You know, Yunara was getting supported by the Karma, so I think it was just that we shouldn't have overextended. I think we just have to really focus on positioning ourselves well enough to win that. Yeah, you guys won a seemingly impossible game, and it has to be exhilarating to win a game like this. So how did you feel when you when you won that last team fight? Actually, we were starting out the team fight with a 4v5, and I don't think we were expecting it to end that way, but we actually fought very hard until the very end. So I think that's why we were able to win. And today, Bulldog came to cheer for you. Did you see? Yeah, you know, before our match started, Bulldog actually paid a visit to our green room. And I think we got a good energy from him. And, you know, given that he is a Bulldog, I think I got that energy from the dog. Any word of thanks to Bulldog? Oh man, thank you, Bulldog. And tomorrow you will face D+ Kia right away. And since you guys were defeated in the group battle, this is your time to get your payback. So what is your mindset? As for us, I think for the rest of the group battle, I think it was pretty winnable, but then I do remember that we kind of lost helplessly against D+ Kia, so I hope that we pay enough attention and prepare ourselves well enough so that we can defeat them this time around. And that is the end of the interview with Pyoshik, and back to the desk. Thank you.